Welcome to another Monday night Titan Esports Divinity League Week 4. We have TPO versus TFF. I'm joined here by Isaac Cass, filling in for Wisdom tonight. How's it going, Isaac?
It's going good. It's going good. Thanks for having me on. I'm more than happy to fill for this one. But yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm excited tonight because we've had nothing but just stomp after stomp, 2-0, 2-0, week after week. Tonight, I think you kind of burst my bubble a little bit with your stats, with what was going on earlier, but hopefully we'll have some competitive games tonight, maybe a best of 3 for once. You want to go ahead and talk about the stats we were talking about earlier?
Yeah. So TPO waking wards. Actually walking wards. I can't write correctly. Hold on, guys. TPO walking wards. They are sitting 2-2, second in Group A right now. But funny thing about that, every single one of their series have gone only 2 games. They've either won the 2 or lost both. But meanwhile, on the side of TFF, Aftershock, all of their series have gone all 3 games, bar their 1 win, in which they 2-0'd the bottom of Group A, which is Sun Lero. And so, honestly, we couldn't have 2 more like contrastingly, I guess, aligned teams on side TFF Aftershock. Their ADC Crow Malone, certainly one of the certainly the star point of the focal point of that team, currently sitting second in damage per minute amongst players who have played at least 8 games in the league. But meanwhile, mid for TPO walking wards and just in general, their solo lanes tend to be their sort of standout points. Spixis specifically, 10 solo kills so far in 8 games.
Yeah, that's good. Good news for TPO. I do see that Pot of Greed is down there, that bot lane on that support position. That is a player I've grown to watch a lot over the past year or so. Seen a couple of tryouts and a couple of different teams as well. Glad he found a home with that team. But he, all around, just great support, plays everything and anything, but will catch you off guard on some of the picks that they play. Can play hook champs, can play supportive champs, can play anything that'll be up and personal in your own space right there and lock you down. So watch out for that bot lane and TPO to make some huge plays along with TFS bot lane too. So Crow Malone being a very, very skilled bot laner down there with that 6.8 KDA. I do see a Yasuo mastery out there too. That'd be cool to see in that bot lane if they do pull it out. I do see a Jinx mastery on Efren in the mid lane too. So maybe we could have a couple of lane swaps going on too. Anything could kind of happen, especially at this point in the standings that are going on right now. These teams really need to make a huge ripple and wave effect in this middle of the pack here, because I mean, you're sitting at second and third seeds. I do believe TFF needs a couple of wins here to get their standings back up in order and make that playoff run. It's getting really, I mean, this season's kind of flying by to me, honestly. And if you don't catch it up now, you might be sitting down there in that bottom of the pack in the leaderboards there.
Yeah, as how the playoffs of this Titan Divinity League works is that the top 4 of their groups do advance. There are groups of 5. So at the very least, if you're on the side of TFF Aftershock, from what I've been able to see in my mind's eye through numbers, despite their 1-3 record, they should be relatively safe, especially if they could pick up another win in these last 2 weeks. Here, they should be fine, sitting on a almost even record, despite being only 1-3, which is the surprising when you take a look at their individual game score. So a little bit deceptive there. So I do think TFF, we might see 3 games from them again.
Yeah,
short one. They might be sending us 3 this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's at this point of the season where you just got to fight everything like it's your last fight of the season, and if you don't treat it like that, it's definitely going to be a lot harder for you in the playoffs or even a championship game. So you got to treat everything like it's all on the line right now, and we'll get this game going on the way with our game 1 here. TPO going to have that first ban on the blue side, going to have that Kai'Sa ban right off the bat here. Let's see what TFF answers with.
And, I mean, straight away, I'm not really all that surprised with the Kai'Sa ban on the side of TPO walking wards. I I mean, if we're being completely honest, I wouldn't be surprised. TFF, yeah, with the Syndra taken away, has the highest presence of any other champion in Divinity League so far, and into Bixus, who's been one of the better performing mid laners in the league. It's not surprising at all. That being said, Graves and Tom Kench, perhaps a little bit unexpected, at least from what I've seen and what little I was able to gather, at the very least.
Graves has been one of those kind of pick and ban champions if the other jungler is able to play it. It's a lot of damage coming out now with the new item changes to that champion, and it's very, very snowbally, so you definitely want to get that off the map if you don't want to deal with it. So great ban by them. Poppy as well, another champion that's just kind of an annoyance there in any lane that they put it in, and can definitely be a disruptor of a team comp there. So great ban as well coming out of TFF, and we're gonna have a Seraphine first pick here for TPO.
Yeah, it's just a really good general pick all around, flexible. You don't have to commit it anywhere, and yeah, you could send that ADC support mid. It keeps your options open as a first pick, but on the other hand, TFF going for that Nunu first.
Yeah, that's why I'm cracking up over here right now. I can already see Nunu just running it down a mid lane gank or even a bot lane gank, taking everything on the map here. I love when a Nunu can just take over a game. I mean, take everything from the opposite side of the jungle, then go to an objective and go and have a gank right after and still be full health. I mean, it gets kind of it's outstanding what Nunus can do in this game and still be full health no matter what is going on. Braum Seraphine picked out so far. It might be a mid lane Seraphine with that J4. They're going for a wombo combo already this early in the game of the series. TPO looking to just blow them up and catch them off guard. So could be a pit comp, could just be an all-out 5v5 for TPO.
Yeah, TPO, their first round of picks definitely, it's definitely very damage light, but
yeah,
there's still more than enough options for them to come through and pick up in the second half of this draft to make that okay, with a few champs available on the board. I'm going to suspect that, yeah, especially with Hui down there, we have a lot of flexibility. I don't know if I would like to necessarily see Hui in that bottom lane. I'm not sure so much about Chromalone's champ pool. Obviously we saw the Yasuo, but it's not very common to see ADCs on to be very familiar with the mage picks. I mean, I've seen it a little bit successful in the bottom lane, but it really depends on proficiency, and well, we'll have to see where the area goes. But again, more flexibility coming out with the Corki in there on the side of TFF Aftershock. So,
a couple of things I'm noticing here is that both teams are really scared to have any scaling champions out on the floor in this one. I mean, you got the Syndra ban, the Nivea ban, Caitlyn, Kai'Sa, Veigar. They just want to get these games over and done with here on both sides, depending on what they're going to play. I mean, Ash already picked out for the bot lane. It's going to be a Seraphine in that mid lane there for TPO with the Shen on top of that. Like you said earlier, I mean, there's not too much damage out here for it to get done, but if you can stay alive and keep your power in numbers, that's where the real beauty of the TPO team comp comes from. For TFF, though, they're looking to kind of chill out for about 20 minutes and then come at you guns ablazing, swinging from the rooftops there with a lamppost in their hands of that top laner on the Jax, who's going to be able to be a menace to the top lane against Shen. And Shen might run out of that top lane before he even has a chance to even join his team. And if you leave that Jax alone, it's going to take over from, I mean, one tower all the way to your inhib in a matter of minutes. So, I mean, you got to be very careful about that too. Definitely going to need a couple of TPs on this team of TPO if they want to make that happen. But I think the faster the game gets over, the better chances you have of winning on the side of TPO. My draft goes over to TFF, though, if they have the time to get it done, and I think they win this game one.
Yeah, I honestly, I'd have to agree. Even though TPO, they have a relatively strong team fight there with, with all the tools available, Seraphine, Braum, Jarvan, all of them line up. But we've gone over this already, is that the amount of damage coming through, unless if they find, I don't know, Chromalone or Efron way out of position, just completely out in no man's land for whatever reason, I struggle to see how they finish out these the rest of these fights if it does go long enough. Obviously, Ashe can still do a lot of damage if you start to accelerate that, and if they can do that, it'll be fine. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes exactly.
Got a little bit of 5-man grouping here in the bot lane for TPO, and they are looking for someone to have a bad time in the start of it. But TFF on the opposite side of the map doing the same thing here. So they will find out that they are both on opposite sides of the map. Going to place a ward pretty soon. Figure out where that jungler is going to start as well. If I'm TFF, I'm not looking to fight early. I'm looking to farm this one out. Looking to use Nunu to my advantage as soon as possible here on any of the grubs or dragons, depending on what side they want. And that'll be my key to victory here. So objectives into gold, gold into items, items into carrying myself into a lane here. You don't need to team fight this one out. It should be all right. Shout out to Pro Comps with that draft score of TFF, agreeing with us as well. And TPO under 43%, TFF to win with 56% here. Go to Pro Comps and get yourself that add-on as well. Can help you out in your games with live stats and live data and build pass and everything in between that as well. So let's get this game rolling already. Nunu on that blue buff, J4 on their red buff. What's going to happen from here, Isaac?
Nunu getting the game rolling. Lamau, I see that. No, I not quite yet. Obviously, we have to wait until level 2. But I mean, if we're looking forward to into things to look forward to, I do want. I mean, we already said TPO walking wards do want to, accelerate this game as fast as possible because their general lack of damage. But I mean, it does sound fairly reserved, but as they hit level 2 here, they are one of the teams that has the most amount of kills per game as well as deaths per game. But we're going to see, oh good, getting a big chunk out of Chrome alone here as the side of TPO walking towards his bot lane does hit that level 2 and utilizes that advantage very well to get a nice chunk out there early on.
That's such a crazy stat to have. Most kills and most deaths on the same team. Nunu is here to get some retaliation going on in the bot lane, though. He will
it's
decide not to.
It's warded. Those wards are walking already, plotting out these jungle gates before they come in. But I mean, overall, I mean, just quick overlook to that top lane. I mean, you mentioned that this Jax and this counter pick as well from Jax into the Shin, already getting a good chunk out of Indigo there. B Morris taking advantage, but Ziggy having singing the enemy jungler on the bottom side of the map will try to start for an invade here. I don't know if either jungler both of them know something's up.
Yeah.
Whether they stick around for anything or not is a separate question. Stabler Orca will eventually end up picking that red buff, but Ziggy's sticking around for a little bit longer than maybe you'd kind of want him to at this point. Starting to lose out a little bit of farm here, but Stabler Orca is not going to know that. Ziggy's still in the area. Going to take the moment to walk away. Flag drag going to stop the roll and stop the biggest snowball ever. First Blood going to get picked up by Bixus with 2 flashes committed onto that, but still First Blood. Meanwhile, Indigo going to have to use his flash of his own there in that 1v1 as well. So action-packed one after the other. Advantage over the side of TPO walking wards, but B Morris here in the top lanes at least getting some in return, and we should suspect to be a very big point of interest as this match starts to move on.
Indigo's playing with fire here against B Morris. I mean, I don't know if they'll be able to get that taunt, but J4's going to come out and help his laner.
Yeah, there's no vision onto Z. He does get the flag and drag, and the knock-up taunt will land, but not enough damage to start out early on as the stun comes through from B Morris as he's fine. Straight over to the bottom lane now, one after other. Ganks upon Ganks teleport going to be committed to prevent any sort of deaths coming through here. Now, actually, Exhaust going to drop the Stabler. Orca going low. Will he be collected by We Good? And he is. Pot of Greed still walking forward, maybe can find a slow there. Fallen Warrior going out to flash away to avoid the stun as well. So on the bottom side, despite being the ones getting ganked, it is the bottom lane of TPO walking wards picking up the kill there.
Big shout out to TPO. We Good down there saying we gonna be all right today with Pot of Greed sitting on them as well. Stand behind me and you'll get the victory. Pot of Greed always holding it down whenever I see them play. Great job on that turnaround to the Nunu gank. I mean, Nunu having a tough time right now. 5 minutes in, 2 deaths. Started from that top lane, then walked all the way to that bot lane, just go right back to the gray screen. It's going to be a rough start out for that Nunu, who should already be half a level or so ahead. Gonna go ahead and go in the mid lane now.
He's going to gank again. I mean, I guess if you first you don't succeed, try again. Will the third time be the charm? A lot of damage initially coming through onto Bixus, but there's not enough remaining as Ziggy tries to find the counter gank. Bixus still fairly low. Will find the snare onto Stabler Orca, who will get the heal off his Q to stay alive for now as Fallen Warrior. Just going to make sure that there won't be any other shenanigans here in the mid lane.
A couple of things to point out here. Ziggy hasn't backed yet, but been a part of 2 or 3 kind of ganks and counter ganking that's been going on. So sitting on a lot of gold right now as Dragon is spawning. Efren now has control of that mid lane for the side of TFF due to that gank from the Thresh and Nunu, who are walking towards that bot lane again. A lot of pings going down. Stabler is not ready to let up in these ganks.
Largest snowball in the world going to come through. Stabler Orca going to get at least one knock up there. Pot of Greed going to go unbreakable and prevent really any sort of damage coming through onto the bottom lane there. And so another gank attempt not quite working out, and that opens up the Void Grubs to be claimed by TPO Walking Wards for free.
They are so quick to just, if something's open, TPO is going to grab it no matter what. And I like that about them. Very, very proactive on what's been going on. Be more suspicious of what's going on with that grub. Might try to take this last one here. Ziggy trying to defend it. Does not have another sack of smite.
No, he doesn't, and the Stand United will actually come through to make this 3v1. B. Morris going to get a little bit of help from Efron, but it's clearly not enough as Efron has to take a long time to move up into that fight, and going to be another kill getting claimed by TPO Walking Wards. At least there's a dragon in consolation for the side of TFF Aftershock, but overall it's been all TPO Walking Wards here within the first 8 minutes of Game 1.
Yeah, TFF is already playing like they're 20-25 minutes in with 2 or 3 items and a lot of gold, but they just haven't hit that point yet. I mean, you're a Jax with a Sheen, you're beating up in your top lane, but you know that this team of TPO is power in numbers, so they're going to throw everything at you when you're ready to go in like that. They knew that the rest of the team was bot lane as well for TFF. A little bit of poke trading here. Indigo is now putting up damage on top of B. Morris that he was not expecting at all. There will be a dragon, one dragon here for that bot lane at TFF, and we're sitting on 3 kills, 1.5k gold lead for the side of blue here. And I mean, they can kind of do whatever they want now. This is exactly what they wanted, to get ahead early, fight early, get picks early, take objectives, and run it down that mid and top lane as fast as possible here. And that's really what they are able to get done here at this 8-minute mark. And there's not too much else to be said, but TFF just looks like they want to throw everything at them and fight anything that's ahead of them, not really thinking about the consequences that's going to happen while it's being done. But, I mean, that might work out in their favor in the later part of the game here.
Anyway, Ziggy... excuse me. Ziggy going to trying to find a gank there, but as we're talking about the junglers, wait, hold on. Fallen Warrior maybe going to get caught out of it. Going to use the Flay to slow down Ziggy, and does not prevent the knock-up on the flagging drag, though. Death Sentence going to be dodged out by Ziggy and Pot of Greed just in time, but straight over. Tons of ganks so far for a Stabler Orca, going to find the knock-up there, and a lot of CC coming through. B. Morris going to get the slow up, and actually Indigo going to have to commit his flash to prevent himself from going down. But flashless Shin there in the counter pick matchup. Going to have a lot of tough times if we see anything coming back here, but it's set up for this dive. Ziggy going to try to find his way onto Chromalone, flag, drag into the Cataclysm, will find Chromalone. Death Sentence not going to be able to find Ziggy under the tower, but it won't matter so much just now. Chromalone going to be down to a decent amount of health, sitting fairly low, and it's perhaps a little bit too long from Ziggy sticking around as Efron really try to find damage onto Ziggy. Not quite going to have enough there for lethal, but still a lot of damage in return. Efron still trying to find anything they can possible, but wait, actually it might be towards the mid lane. Bix is going to have to flash away from the largest snowball in the world. Action upon action here, which is something we expect to see. Counter going to be turned around by Bix's. Swirling Death going to find its way there, but it's not enough damage to find out in the early part of this fight. Ziggy going to send Efron low, going to get the kill, but it's going... Actually, it's not traded back. What did I see there from the side? I don't know what I saw, but it will be 1 kill going over to the side of TPO Walking Wards.
That was pretty close. I mean, TFF is throwing everything at the wall and trying to see what sticks. And so far, they're throwing just it's not even wet pasta noodles. It's hard pasta right now. Nothing is sticking to that wall at all. They're just reactive playing right now. I do like the aggressiveness out of Stabler, but you spent so much time really. I guess they're pretty much tied up in CS, but they could be out farming the crap out of Ziggy right now and having a couple items to boost that damage output that you're having. It seems like every time Stabler wants to gank somebody, that Flash is up and ready to go. Great job by Bixus in that mid lane on the Seraphine to uh, stall that mid lane fight out and keep everybody alive, and they got a kill in return out of it. Efren was trying to do some damage there in that bot lane as well, but nothing really worked out for him. Second set of grubs here in that top lane being started by Ziggy already on spawn, and we do have Braum chasing Nunu out of their own jungle right now.
I take a look at Stabler's build. Just for 2 seconds, wait, hold on. Before we do that, we do have a gank coming through there in the top lane, and they're going to take quite a bit of damage. Will it be enough, though? A lot of coming through. B Morris does get that kill, and a bit of a late teleport now to maybe turn this phantom around. Pod of Greed going to find the stacking options of... Oh, wait, that was...
Ooh.
Where did the teleport come through?
Surfing got
stopped
by Thresh down
yeah,
there.
by
Yep.
Thresh, yeah. So a bit unfortunate that won't be available for the rest of that fight. Bixus now might have to face a little bit of trouble. Going to be very squishy. Death Sentence does land. Going to try to find the dive. And the Encore comes out to try to slow it down a little bit, but not slow enough. As that's going to be the first 2 kills of this game going on the side of TFF Aftershock in quick succession. But again, look at that build from Stabler Orca.
He, you know what? They definitely believe in themselves, and that's all I can say about that one. So, I mean, mostly, if you believe in yourself, you can get stuff done. You can do whatever you put your mind to, and Magi's is what the Nunu is putting their mind to right now, and we're gonna see how it goes. I'm not gonna say anything yet. I'm not gonna jinx myself, but TFF, great play in that bot lane. Got a couple of plates and a free pick on that Seraphine, and stopped the TP from making a big play in the top lane for TPO. So, I mean, we're back to normal laning phases again. Nothing really happened too much. I do think Stabler has a good decision of picking on the Shen in that top lane more than trying to fight this bot lane down here. Pot of Greed has just been a huge Braum influence on a lot of these fights here. Fallen Warrior has been hitting a lot of hooks too. That's going to be a dragon down. First one for TPO here. A Chemtech Drake and Stabler looking a little lost here in that jungle. Going to be pathing towards the top lane though.
I mean, it's definitely on the opposite side of the objective that was up. But they are, as you said, pathing towards that top side. I mean, maybe a little bit of a... I don't know.
He hit the blast cone. I thought they were going to go for the Gromp or the Wolves or something, but I think they just trying to figure out what they want to do eventually. But, I mean, got the still ball down. Good poke there on Indigo, and we'll take that, and we'll run it back towards that mid lane here for that Nunu. Great pathing here by Ziggy. Staying proactive, getting farm, and putting pressure on this bot lane here. I like that the junglers are swapping sides. They're not trying to give up too much here on these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, opposite sides, but I mean, overall, I mean, Ziggy has still definitely caught the better half of this matchup, and they're going to land the taunt there, but I'm not sure this is exactly one he wants. B-More is coming through, won't have the ability to block these auto attacks just yet, taking a lot of minion aggro here in the 1v1. B-Morris, though, still using that advantage on that Triforce to pretty good effect into what honestly looked like a little bit of a questionable move at the very beginning of that fight, but you know, Jax on Triforce over Shin with 2 giant spells, so.
I don't know. And Shen can catch you off guard. I've played a lot of top lane games where I'm just like, why did Shen just hit me for 1,000 damage out of nowhere? And it kind of lasts like that throughout the whole game state as well if you get a couple of 80 items on the Shen. I do like the double giant spell into that Heart Steel, though. It's going to help them out a lot through all phases of the game here and keep them pretty tanky. On top of that, fighting the bot lane.
We do have the stun coming through onto Fallen Warriors, but a lot of damage had already come down onto Pot of Greed, so not really much going to do there. And since, you know, the health bar is going to be used... Oh, wait, hold on, flash forward from Fallen Warriors, going to pick out Pot of Greed, they're calling a bit too greedily, going to give that over to Chrome alone for now. There it is, another kill going over to the side of TFF Aftershock, and despite the really rough early game from Aftershock, they have, well... they have survived the initial earthquake, and they're starting to Oh, yeah, okay. I won't finish that. I
No, I
won't.
like the analogy. I mean, they had they rippled in the ground a little bit, and now they're causing that earthquake here with their beginning of the game, and they're gonna scale out into a Grand Canyon. It feels like with how they're playing right now, and that's one good thing about that too is that they picked a game plan and they stuck with it. They didn't get too down and out about the early woes that they were having now, and now they are keeping that same mindset here, keeping that game plan. I mean, you can see why Nuna picked up the Medjais. They're going to be fighting from minute 1 to minute 40.
Going to be coming through, trying to find the kill onto B Morse, who is out a little bit too far for his own good. Going to be able to speed up there, hop away, going to be followed by the Cataclysm, forces a flash out of B Morse. So no, oh wait, hold on, bottom side of the map, going to be a kill going over to We Good in the 2v2 there, onto Fallen Warriors.
I think Potagri was kind of mad about that early pick on his very far up recall in the lane there. Got a little bit of get back there in that thresh, and now they're gonna be fighting for a Rift Herald. Ziggy already starting it. It's at about 6,000 health, and Stabler looks like he wants to try his hand at taking this away from them.
I don't know if this is exactly the best idea. Bixisco is going to have the first move over alongside Indigo, so any start of this fight will be 3-1, and yeah, wisely moves away from that. But I mean, speaking over to around this Baron pit, I mean, every single objective on this top half of the map being claimed up by TPO walking wards, and we're really seeing how much damage that's going through onto that tower, being able to pick up the first tower there. Death Sentence not going to land onto We Good, but here comes Stabler Orca, and I'm not sure there's anywhere else to go for We Good in the 1v4. There's not... I mean, Pot of Greed just hops his way out of there because there's nothing you can do to save your ADC at that point.
Yeah, we ain't good right now at all. Going to the gray screen. Gonna have a huge tower pick up there in that mid lane, though. Ritual going down as soon as they picked it up, and I like that move. And they're gonna keep going, charging down that mid lane here. Vixis and Ziggy creating a lot of momentum throughout every state of this game right now. And that's the thing about TPO so far that we're seeing that has really put them in that gold lead and hasn't really lost it yet is the momentum and just the macro. I mean, I'll take macro all day over team fighting and just 1v1ing laning phase and everything like that. If my team could be getting things on the map while there's a 4-man dive in my bot lane, then I'll take that.
But yet another gank from Stabler Orca, this time onto Indigo, forcing the flash, getting the snare, and that's going to be a lot of initial damage coming through on the Nunu ultimate. B Morris on the other side. Wait, hold on, back to the mid lane fight away, going to be Ziggy getting the kill onto Efron there. So 1 from 1, a bit across the map. Ziggy going to try to force us a little bit farther forward without any Cataclysm, without the rest of his team. It's ambitious, but it won't pay for it at the very least.
Nothing is free in this game right now. TFF, Stabler and B Morris in that top lane taking down Indigo, but at the same time, your whole mid lane is getting completely distraught there. Efren going down from the side of the Seraphine Ashe ulti, Braum ulti, Cataclysm. I mean, that 4-man ulti with the group up of their ultimates is just ridiculous. And is that damage boost that they needed here out of the champion pools that they have? That's going to be a second Dragon Infernal Drake on top of that. Should be an Infernal Soul for the rest of the game. That'll definitely help out with that damage output from TPO. That being said, TFF is having their damage boost pretty early in the game as well. Got a Collector and looks like a Last Whisper coming out of Corki here. A lot of poke damage out of the Hui build. And that Medjai's so far is paying off for Nunu. Great pickup there. 3 assists equals 6 stacks out of 20 that they need here. I want to see some tankiness out of this champion, though, throughout the rest of the game.
He's not building it just yet. Only AP, only AP items in the inventory of Stabler Orca. I don't think we're going to be seeing much tankiness unless if there's a really big shift from the side of Stabler Orca on that build, which I guess isn't impossible. But I mean, right now, I do have to agree. There's not exactly a lot of survivability from the side of TFF Aftershock.
Two things are going on right now. Either Nunu's crashing out, or they want to have a huge ulti and just kind of call it for the rest of the game here. So I mean, that 5-man ulti with a full AP Nunu is definitely going to be a game winner. But if there's all the CC on that team, I don't see a way of getting it down.
Yeah, I mean, but counterpoint, full AP Nunu ults are fun.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Have you considered?
No,
Have you
I see
considered the
the vision,
reality?
and the reason why I see it because I would be the one to build AP Nunu in my games as well.
Yeah, it's but and honestly, I think there is a time and a place for full AP. No, wait, hold on. Be more going to pop the ults here. Indigo not going to have a good start to this fight. Going to be taken low very quickly. And on Jax, we said in the side lanes was going to become an issue. It just might be an issue now. Fairly easy solo kill for B Morris there. Completely uncontested. Not really anything Indigo could do, especially without that flash. And so slight numbers advantage, but that does perhaps give a little bit of room for TFF Aftershock to find something here. Pot of Greed perhaps wandering a little bit too far forward. Flay going to move him back. Chromalone going to pick up his 4th kill without any answer. Flag and Drag going to get Ziggy away. Death Sentence will find its way onto We Good, though he might not be so good for now, but light of a slide, maybe not timing the cooldowns correctly from Fallen Warriors, didn't have the Flay available to move We Good into the box. Flag and Drag from Ziggy going to find Fallen Warrior, but on the side going to be Chromalone picking up his 5th without kills. Standing United going to be finding his way, dropping onto Ziggy. Indigo now can't find any taunt there. No CC, and may have gone too far forward because here comes B Morris and the rest of TFF Aftershock. AP Nunu dealing quite a lot of damage there to finish that off. Actually, I stand corrected. It is Chromalone going to be the one claiming that kill, but 3-0 going over to the side of TFF Aftershock. At the start of this fight, Pot of Greed is back, going to eat that death sentence for his team, but not so much to keep that tower alive. And with the Lantern going to be Fallen Warrior hopping away, Ziggy getting a little bit dangerous with the low health bar there, but is fine for now.
Isaac, what are we doing here? What is TPO doing? What is going on? What happened in the last 2 minutes? I'll tell you what happened. We're not pushing our buttons. And when we don't push our buttons on a team that needs to push their buttons, you're going to be losing your fight. Ziggy is not done with.
Oh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow from downtown will find a full 3-second stun, which makes it easy for Ziggy to be able to pick that one up without any problems.
But I'm not done yelling, Isaac. I am not done yelling at TPO right now. You have a 5-man team with all teams that are supposed to be team fighting. You had a Hwei in the bot lane. You had a top lane in that Jax that was just running down your top lane, and you had a 4v3 that you should have been using your abilities on. Take those fights. Don't second guess it. I think there was a little bit of communication problem there. I seen Ziggy coming up, and they won't let me talk, Isaac. But they're gonna run this one out. Never mind. They're gonna run this one away.
Never mind.
B Morris was just tired of me yapping, and I understand, but I'm gonna keep yapping anyways. With that being said, TFF, great job by you guys to understand that TPO is looking a little bit shy to pull that trigger there. So if they keep fighting like this, I mean, metal to the floor, accelerated all the way down, keep it redlining, and you should be able to win this game out.
Yeah, and slight sad hours from TFF. Wait, hold on. Indigo, I mean, there's not really much you can do here, flashing away, but I think you might want to hold on to that just for now. Wait, it's going to be a lot of tower shots coming through. B-More is taking low. Chromalone going to pick up his 7th kill of the game.
What? What was that?
Questionable. Chromalone, wait, hold on, pause. Chromalone going to be dropped the Cataclysm on Death Sentence, not going to save away the ADC of TFF, and now they've stayed too long back into this fight. Perhaps Indigo knew exactly what he was doing. Going to be the backside of that fight, going over to the side of TPO walking wards, and
we'll have a little bit of a spectator delay going on. 1 second as we break that last fight down. Isaac, what happened with that tower shot? Did it just kind of decide to wrap around? Was that a Goku Spirit Bomb from out of nowhere? Did some of the chat reviewers send that one back from the chat room into the game?
I have a feeling B Morse may have saw the rest of the team coming. Maybe he may have caught vision of We Good and just decided that if you're going to give the gold over to somebody, you might as well give it over to the Shin, who won't use it all that effectively, as opposed to maybe giving over to Ashe or Seraphine. Which is a respectable decision.
Right.
But on the side of Chromalone and Fallen Warriors, I don't know why they stuck around.
Yeah.
I can't quite justify that one. I don't know.
Yeah, shout out to We Good. Having great Ashe arrows this whole game so far. Always there when they need it. Gonna have a dragon down, the 3rd one for TPO. Gonna have an Infernal Soul in the next kind of rotation there. Have a tower taken down by Hwei in that top lane as well. But now we're in Baron territory, and this is where games are won and lost in the matter of seconds. And the team fight goes over to TPO, but TFF is a little bit more aggressive in their interactions here with the team fighting that they have and with their warding. I mean, if you look at the wards difference between TFF and TPO at the moment, I know that TFF had a lot of pressure on the map, so they got more aggressive warding, but TPO hasn't disregarded that. I mean, they have disregarded. They haven't fought for vision at all.
And speaking of the aggressiveness on side of this map, B Moore is just going to be able to take down that turret on the jacks here, but there's going to have to be some sort of answer, especially with, as you said, that vision. Hell, wait, hold on. Enchanted Crystal Arrow going to find Fallen Warrior from distance. Not really anything you can do to save alive there. Going to be another good pick. Going over to the side. Wait, yes, going over to the side of TPO walking wards. Moving a little bit too far forward. Opening up the map, though. Going to be Stabler. Orca going to surely find enough damage on to Indigo there. Efron picking up that kill.
I need a Medjai's update. What are we at now? Are we at 8, 10, 12?
Orca did die in that team fight, so she should be on 2.
Oh, no. It's all
Yeah.
over. It's all Orca now, unfortunately, though. But Medjai's back at 2. Sorry, guys, for a little bit of delays here. Spectator has been up and down throughout the whole month, but we're going to keep fighting it through and getting this game over and done for you guys. Should be done within the next 10, 15 minutes, hopefully, here, because we do have a lot of back and forth going on. I don't think Baron will be the end result in winning this game here. Did see B Morris is in that bot lane trying to chip away at that bot lane tower. Huey has been taking over the job of teaming up with Stable Orca to take down Indigo. Indigo hasn't had a chance to kind of be a part of these team fights or stopping a lot of this engaged damage, though. With that being said, they've been pulling all their picks here on TPO, on Fallen Warrior, on Sabler, on Chrome alone. And there's just a lot to be done here, but nothing is really being proactive in the way of TPO, more so than TFF so far in this macro. I mean, the objectives are on the map for them, but TFF looks like they're going to just pull away the pressure in both lanes here, and eventually they'll crack that base open for TPO.
Yeah. On the side of TFF, though, at the very least, TFF does have this side lane pressure coming out from hello brain from B
Okay.
Morris. That's from B Morris on the jacks. I mean, we saw how far the positioning away from Bixis there on the Seraphine, how far they had to position back, and without Ziggy really being able to do much there in this game so far, being largely ineffective so far in that counter pick. I struggle to see if TFF can start to play around B Morris better in these upcoming fights. Just how they counter that, Jax, really.
Yeah, the only enemy that they have right now is time. And right now they've been playing with time like they have a lot of it, which they really don't. I mean, we're at 26 minutes. B Morris, now I'm blanking out. B Morris and Efren have been doing nothing but farming and CSing this whole time and getting free picks with Orca. And that's just adding more fuel to the fire that's already started here at this 20-minute mark. And I mean, shout out to Ziggy, though. Ziggy's been holding it down, getting picks and getting objectives, which is what you want to do in that J4. But really what they need to do is just group up 5 and run that thing down so they can open and crack up that base. Once they crack open an inhib, that kind of forces this solo lane, run it down kind of thing to go away. So you're not really going to have that too much anymore if you're forcing minions into their base or they have to deal with that on both ends. So, I mean, TPO really has to use their buttons, like we were saying earlier. Just push them. I mean, they're there to hold them down and take them out. That's all you really have to do is lock 2-3 people in that Cataclysm, run Seraphine, run Braum, run Ashe on whoever's not in there, and then run the Shen onto whoever's getting blown up. And I mean, J-Force to start falling off on damage now, and we're just really going to see how it goes. But right now, TFF, same thing with Pro Comp, same thing with me and you, kind of guess where this is going to go earlier.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a little bit unfortunate from TPO walking wards. I don't know if unfortunate's the right word. Maybe misplayed's probably more in the realm of where it was, because yes, I mean, you can't forget how dominant they were within those first eight minutes at the very least. But as funny as I was saying earlier, second most kills per minute in the league. Also second most death per minute
Yeah,
deaths
I
per
mean,
minute in the league.
you can
And
tell by the way they play. I mean, they just
uh,
it. I keep wanting to say other references, but I mean they play like they are like they know they're gonna respawn. You know, like they're playing like they are definitely in a League of Legends game and not like a first person shooter. They're not really. I can't say that. I can't say they're not strategic because they're definitely strategic in how they do it. It's just they are very reactionary. They're very quick. Boom, 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 boom. TPO sees the fighting going on. They go to an objective, but meanwhile, TFF they want blood and they're ready to I mean hack and slash their way all the way down to a Nexus. So
yeah, surprisingly though, from TFF Aftershock, uh, they have only won one game so far on red side out of the five. Um, they're sitting within a good chance to turn around. And Chrome alone, uh, he's definitely been a focal point of that turn on. Obviously, that one little hiccup there in the side lane, trying to. I'm going to maybe try to keep B Morris alive a little bit longer. You know, I've let's be honest. Who hasn't made that mistake before?
yeah.
Where you see what your teammate dying in a side lane, and then like that monkey side part of your brain, despite you knowing it being a bad decision to turn around and start walking back to them,
Yeah.
you know that this is a dumb decision, right? I've done this a million times where I know it's a bad decision. I know it's the wrong decision. You just let them go. What happened happened. Que sera sera. And then you hold your mouse, and all of a sudden it's starting to move back the other way, and all of a sudden you click in the opposite direction,
My
and now
mind's
you're
telling me
heading back
no.
to your teammate who's already dead,
Right.
and now you're dead too. And it's just like, come on, like let's be completely honest. If you say you have not done that before, having played League of Legends, there are two people in this world. There are two people in this world, Heat. There are people who have done that, and there are liars.
I mean, dude, I tend to give support a lot of slack with that because when I play support, I mean, I want everybody to live and I want them to get away. Or if I'm playing Thresh, you're gonna have that lantern on you no matter what, even if I go down with the ship there. But yeah, I mean, it's just that's a trait you want to have more than not have when you're on a team-based game. When you're with people who are supposed to be your teammates, that you're supposed to take care of and have to keep their mental strong and keep them in the right state of mind to win games. I mean, if you don't have that trait in a support, in a mid laner, in a top laner that's playing Shen or anything like that in between, you definitely want to find somebody with that mentality because then you're just going to have somebody who, I mean, unless you put them on champions like Jax or Trinity or whatever, but you want to have somebody on your team that's definitely going to care about whether you get 4-man dove or not, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Still no updates on the match so far. Whether we're going to be uh, whether that we'll be getting back into that anytime soon. But I mean, for now, help me
I,
fill the air here. Heat.
Yeah, no, dude, trust me, I can yap all day. I will ask production though if you want us to. Okay, I'm gonna talk about a little bit here on what I think is gonna happen, and then we'll get to the results here. Spectator did kind of um freeze up on us though. We will have a backup plan for the next game though, so stay tuned for that next game that's gonna go on and happen. And really, the main question here is whatever team won, are they going to keep that same game plan? Like if TPO got out split push or out damage or anything like that, are they going to keep up with that 5-man protect the carry comp? I mean, that's the reason why this I don't think is working out too well for them so far. That 26-minute mark that we've seen earlier is that you have all of this backup and healing and shielding, but you have an Ashe, and Ashe is not going to be that solo care that you need. It's going to be that extra CC you need, but it's not going to take down a Jax or take down even a Nunu or anything like that. Even the Hue is going to kind of catch you out as well. Corki's going to burst you down. So hopefully they'll. Because I'm just guessing that TPO probably lost the game 1 here, but they might have came back, and we'll find that out in that game 2. We'll cut to a break and see what team is it comes out on head. Welcome back to Titan Divinity League Week 4. We have TPO versus TFF, and Spectator decided that they didn't want to see the game anymore, but we outsmarted Spectator in League of Legends. We got a Rafa file for you guys coming up pretty soon here to show us the results of that game. Again, when we left off, Baron was just kind of getting on the map there about 26 minutes in. Jax is in that bot lane being a menace, as well as Chromalone and not Chromalone, the Nunu and the Efren on Hui in that top lane, messing with Indigo, taking them out as well, trying to stop the Shen from being on the map to gather up with the rest of their team. Ziggy, Bixus, and We Good and Pot of Greed have also been in and out of the map here. Kind of like a 3v3 in that mid lane where Ziggy has been Cataclysm and trying to get some picks out as well.
Team's turret has been destroyed.
For a second, it was going to be another one of those greedy recalls that we saw already happen twice throughout in this game. But, no, he'll be fine, at least for now.
TPO looking very, very confident right now at 30 minutes in. A huge Infernal Soul. Ash looking like a hyper carry. Flashing over a wall, taking out Corki, taking out the B Morris as well on the Jax. And now they're just trying to crack this base open. Got the outer turret on the mid lane here. And this trio that you see right now has been the heart of TPO. Not saying that Indigo and Vixus are not doing their jobs. They are doing their jobs. But the J4 Ash Braum combo TPO right now have been putting all the pressure that you see on the map right now. That mid lane tower being gone, the objectives being taken away. And that's because they are able to take advantage after Indigo and Pixis take all the aggro.
Meanwhile, in the side lane, B Morse doing the thing that we've seen a lot of so far, going to be able to claim that kill onto Indigo once again. We've heard that multiple times so far in this game, but I mean, with Baron still up across the map, I mean, they're not really quite using it too much. At least TPO haven't been able to, at least in this first few minutes of this Baron buff. So TFF Aftershock surviving the early pressure coming out at the very least.
I'm almost confused on why TPO is having Indigo push out so far still, knowing that the Jax and the Saber Orca and the Nunu are just kind of targeting him this whole time here. Might have to send some members up in that top lane to kind of thin this one out. But Jax is ready to fight everybody.
B Morris is definitely really big on this. Jax does have some support behind the teleport, going to be dropping through onto Vixus, but now the counter to this fight, there's going to be a lot of combination coming through, and actually Nunu going to be canceled out of that ultimate. And that's really the main thing from AP Nunu. Started the fight going over the side of TPO, walking towards early advantage. Thresh going to be prevented from hopping away. Vixus now also going to get that kill onto Fallen Warrior as it's going to be retreat from the side of TFF Aftershock on the remaining members.
Yeah, before that spectator delay happened, we were wondering if TFF was going to break the curse of the red side losses, and now we are looking at them still carrying that weight on them after this game right now. We're looking at 5 members of TPO for once in this, feels like the whole game, honestly, running down that mid lane.
Oh, that's going to be a pot of greed taken very low on an AP Nunu who does do a decent amount of damage for now, but we're talking about Stabler Orca's build. AP Nunu's fun, but I mean really, with the amount of damage they have on the side of TFF Aftershock, I gotta say it's not the play. It really isn't the play.
Isaac, there's one quote that I always kind of lean back on. Is you can't do both, and it usually goes towards like either fighting or not fighting, trying to seal objectives, not seal objectives. You either have to pick one or do the other. And for right now, Orca, the only advice I have for you is you either have to go full AP or full tank. That Thornmail, or that arm item is not doing anything for you right now. Ashe might be auto-attacking you, but you might have to go just full AP from that point on and kind of go for a 5-man ulti, and that's really that's the hill you put yourself on. So you either have to stay up there or walk it back down and run it back next game. So from this point on, though, I don't think there's any really issues with TFF's build on any other part of the map here. Just gotta find some ways to get into that base and break it open. Shen and Indigo back at it again.
Yeah, B Morris going to be here in the 1v1 onto Indigo. Indigo now does have the Infernal Soul, doing a lot of damage on this Shin. You said earlier that it's a surprising amount of damage that Shin can do if you let him get his damage through, and there it is. Indigo getting the solo kill onto B Morris, and that's certainly the first time we've heard that this game, but it comes at a very important time. B Morris not going to be available for this Baron fight, and with TP and the Standing Knight available on Indigo, this should be relatively free reign for TPO Walking Wards to try to pick up this Baron, and that's going to be a full 3-second stun finding its way onto Chromalone. He will be fine for now, though, not going to really collapse onto that one. And so, despite the positioning for the jostling for position for a potential fight, neither of these teams are really going to go for it. But yeah, still, this should be Baron over the side of TPO Walking Wards, bar any really big surprises.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cut and dry for TPO now. Find a pick, grab it, take it down. Indigo is now on the winning part of the map as well. B-Morse kind of fell off a little bit on their damage with that pick of an Infernal Soul for Indigo, and even the odds down there for them. So, I mean, they are constantly getting better and better as the time goes on here. And really, the only thing that TFF has to look forward to is finishing items that they don't have right now. I mean, 272 on the CS for the Hui has been kind of quiet in this mid part of the game. Corki has been doing a lot of damage, but not able to stay alive with the Astro. We have another fight going on.
Oh, Jarvan going to find his way forward, not quite putting him at the Cataclysm nest yet, and that's going to be stable Orca going down at the start of this fight. And another snare coming through. That's going to be Fallen Warrior going down, and one after another. TFF Aftershock go down. There's not really anything the rest can do. At the very least, it is Chromalone and B-More still alive here for TPO, or TFF, actually. But so at the very least, it's the two members that, if they are going to defend this 2v5, are the ones that you want to be there. But with the Baron on the side of TPO walking wards, it's just not really much remaining in the gas tank for TFF Aftershock. First turret going down. First X turret going down.
TPO
now,
is one of the end of this game
low.
right now.
B-Morse not quite going to be taken down, but as Shin's teleport comes through, it will be TPO walking wards taking game one in a bit of a roller coaster of an affair there. But nonetheless, all that matters is that they do take the Nexus and are victors here after one.
Yeah, great job by them. I mean, they're kind of playing with victory that whole kind of game there, mid part of the game as well. Even on that first Baron, I think they could have probably cracked that base open and just team fought their way out through it. TFF kind of threw the game for themselves there. Once they lost that top pressure, or bot lane pressure, I should say, with Indigo and Jax with the B Morris, that's where it kind of went all downhill for them. They weren't able to pressure any part of the map there, and that forces them into a team fighting situation that they don't want anymore. We Good did a great job of filling in that carry role here, and that's going to be TPO walking towards game one victory. We should have game two ready to go, or at least a draft, I think. Any thoughts on that first game, Isaac?
Anything else that hasn't been said? Not particularly. I do think TPO walking wards in general, especially towards in the like first 8 minutes, definitely played the map a lot better. And I would say, even though they did take game one, it was nowhere near perfect. There definitely needs to be a bit more refinement in that ability to build off the lead that they garnered, especially. I know the draft perhaps wasn't the greatest, and well, it's only part of it, but there's a lot of things that had to RNG their correct way, because it's like, say that it isn't an Infernal Soul, say it's like a Cloud Soul, then they'd still we run into the issue of them not quite having enough damage there. That Infernal Soul was absolutely massive, as we saw in those later team fights. And even in the early ones that we saw, that they actually did 5v5-4, even though they won a few of those, that was very hairy with the general lack of damage in their comp. So there's a few things that I'd definitely like to see them change to ensure that they come out at 2-0 victors. TFF Aftershock, on the other hand, sometimes early games just go so bad that you just say, okay, next, and like we'll turn that off, and we just go next. And really, outside of that early game, there are a few moments that you could say, okay, let's not die 1v1 late on like that. But there's, again, it comes to a lot of circumstance that you say, okay, let's just not do that. That's not the most, like, I don't know. Words are.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, because even TFF had a roller coaster of a game right there as well. This wasn't a game that was cut and dry TPO winning. I mean, eventually at like 20 to 28 minutes, TFF was in that driver's seat for a while. And that's where they really shined as a team, was that aggression and playstyle came in until TPO was able to kind of deal with that side lane and wave pushing from that Jax. They're able to deal with them not having to have a full team fight to win those fights out. So Ziggy able to know that Orca wasn't able to deal with face checking and everything like that too, and the AP build was not tanky enough for them to survive a lot of those engages as well. So I mean, great job by TPO to figure that one out and end that game one. Just waiting here on a little bit of direction to see if we have that draft ready for game two yet. Oh, we'll be right back after a little bit of a break here for that game two start. Welcome back. A little short break there. We're back for game 2 of the Divinity League Week 4. We got a best of 3 going on with TPO and TFF. TPO taking that game 1. Going back to basics, a little bit of a Freljord comp with that Ashe Braum in the bot lane, Seraphine in the mid lane, Ziggy on that J4. I'd call him the MVP of game 1. Making plays happen, grabbing all objectives. I mean, all 4 dragons, got 2 grubs and a Rift Herald and a Baron, and Indigo just kind of being that sacrificial lamb there for TPO up there, taking all of that pressure from the jungler and keeping that Jax afloat as well, away from their team. So, I mean, didn't have a chance to make some crazy shed ultis, but still did their job by soaking up a lot of pressure and a lot of damage there. TFF, from minute 1 to their loss at about 36 minutes, kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And hopefully that game 1 didn't kind of turn that switch off for them. I hope they come out swinging again in this game 2. Isaac, with that being said, we don't have draft for you guys, but we will have the champions up there. But I just want to see what Isaac's thoughts are on what both teams might draft this game 2 and what the bans might be.
I'm assuming Singe is probably going to be banned away again in the first round of bans. This is probably going to happen. Who's going to be picked? It's not Fearless, right? Just to be clear.
No.
Not
Nope.
Fearless. Okay. Seraphine might. No. Yeah, they might go for TPO might go for Seraphine again. I wouldn't be surprised, or maybe even TFF Aftershock pick that first because it's a pretty solid first pick to just kind of not show anything. Wouldn't be surprised if. Do we know if there's a change of sides or not on this, or?
I don't. Okay, they did switch sides. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, production.
TFF are on blue side then. So.
I would think that J4 is pick or ban, right? I mean, kind of the tempo of it, the early ganking of it. I mean, Nunu was up there, but it wasn't the answer. And I don't think that Orca has. Nunu's not the hardest champion, right? But it does take a lot of time to figure out when to gank, when to farm, when to take objectives, when to build a correct build path on that as well. So I don't think that was the answer for him. I think Orca kind of switches that up a little bit too. Maybe they pull out a tanky jungler to kind of help out with that, or they go towards the damage build because I think they want to be a part of that carry crew on TFF. So maybe a Viego or Nocturne. Not sure what the champ pull is on there, but I think TFF just kind of goes full damage here on the side of them. It looks like they have 5 solo carries on their team. I mean, Fallen Warrior was looking for picks constantly on that Thresh. Chrome alone was a great 80 carry on that Corki. This wasn't really able to be the Corki that gets away scot-free because of the Ashe and the W and the ultis.
We will actually get a draft. Okay. Okay, so it is the results. So, Chrome alone with Sivir. Okay, so Syndra did make it through. I thought that wouldn't make it through, but okay. I don't just quick draft. Zillion support for Pot of Greed. That's thoughts on that? That's not something we see very often.
Yeah, Pot of Greed plays everything, and they play it very well. I do like the Jinx Zillion combo. The problem with that is if Jinx gets far behind, that Zillion ulti kind of makes him a sitting duck after the first blow up there, and then the rest of the team kind of goes after you. With that being said, Fallen Warrior on the turret can make that happen too. It's going to be really hard for Jinx to play this one out if they don't get early kills. Syndra is going to be trying to scale up throughout the part of the game too. Sivir takes not a lot to scale up, but it does take a lot to be a full damage dealer on that team. I like the Rek'Sai here out of the side of TFF as well. So, I mean, they got the same kind of game plan here, just in your face fighting no matter what. And we're going to be starting out this game 2 here. And instead of a 5-man walk into bushes here, we're going to have a normal 5 start.
Yeah, so without any craziness. I mean, the Rek'Sai, I mean, I guess if Stabler Orca is just going to be building full damage regardless, it's not a bad shout. I would have preferred, like you did mention earlier, something like if we are going to full damage, maybe Viego. But if we're talking about like something I would have actually liked to see, I think maybe even something like a Mumu or some sort of big some sort of big team fighting presence for Chrome alone to really just sit back and around, be able to really output this damage on Civ.
Yeah, I don't know where
around
Maokai's at in the
items.
meta anymore, but that kind of came in my mind
Maokai would have
too.
also been a decent shout as well for a Stabler Orca. Like I said, I don't. It just might be Stabler Orca says I build damage only, and so then at that point you kind of say, okay, Rek'Sai might not be the worst if that's the case, but that's more of a behind the scene things that we could really only speculate about.
I will say Rek'Sai is slept on. A good Rek'Sai can kind of carry a game out. It just depends on your decision making here, which Orca kind of just goes for, again, based off of game one, anything they kind of see in front of them looks kind of free, which Rek'Sai can get away with that.
I think if I remember correctly, I didn't exactly count, but I think Orca ganked 3 times, maybe even 4 within like the first 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So Rek'Sai is certainly not a bad option to do that if that's going to be the play that Orca's doing. And honestly, even though it was definitely not the best performance from Stabler Orca in game 1, and we had a lot to say on that AP Nunu build, I can respect the effort of just non-stop trying to find something. I can, at the very least, respect it.
It's a redemption arc right now. Redemption game for Orca. Shout out to Pro Comps again. Showing TPO the favorite this time. 51.6% to TFF's 48.4%. I think that kind of deals out with the bot lane. Jinx being more in the meta than the Sivir. And the J4 and the Urgot pick in that top lane probably evens that one out towards their favor here. I think TPO is more in that scaling position though than they were last game here. They can't really play the same way they were last game. They're gonna have to be more surgical in the way that they play this one out.
And speaking of Stabler, Indigo's going to hop forward while a Stabler Orca is there without that much information, not realizing that there's going to be a game coming through here early on. Flash shield available for Indigo, going to hold onto that for a really long time, maybe a bit too long. Stabler Orca going to try to find the heal. Flash forward from B Morse. Will it be enough? Yes, it will. Burst blood going over to the top lane of TFF Aftershock.
Great patience there by Orca. And Indigo, just bad timing right there. The E in kind of early in the game to get extra damage out as well. Look at Ziggy down here in the bot lane, already taking out that red buff as they knew that Orca was in that top lane getting that first blood. And we'll see a scuttle drop down to Orca. Great start here for the side of TFF.
Yeah, I definitely think they are going to go for mid. Fallen Warrior going to find Bixus as well as Stabler Orca going to be in the area, forcing that flash off on the Victor. Not going to be available, so another point of contention. Stabler Orcas, their early ganks this time around starting to do a lot of work, and definitely an improvement from the early game of game 1 there.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see. You want to see improvement from game after game. You don't want to be down and out in your feelings about how you performed in your last game. It's always one step forward. Ziggy is not letting up in this game too, though. On the farm perspective, he is counter jungling the crap out of Rek'Sai right now. And I think that's going to be due in part that they know they're going to lose a couple of 1v1s if they find themselves at level 6 there.
Stabler Orca going to know that Ziggy is here. Flag and drag not going to go through onto Efron either. Scatter the Wait going to prevent that from getting through. Lots of damage getting taken onto Ziggy, and a flash forced away off the jungler for TPO, and so another advantage early on going on the side of Aftershock.
Yeah, Efren's showing their skills in that Syndra. Great E timing on that one, stopping the flag drag. And Pot of Greed and Good is just farming this one out here on the side of TPO. TFF kind of doing the same. I think this bot lane's a stalemate throughout the whole kind of game here. Every phase should just be a little bit even, depending on how far Jinx is ahead in items.
I mean, I'd say the early game is slightly, like marginally, TPO favored with the extra range on Pot of Greed, ever so marginally, and I do want to emphasize that, but it's starting to show. I mean, there's 5 CS at around as these waves come together, an advantage going to We Good.
Isaac, you ever seen a Tarek auto Q?
I have. I've been on the receiving end. I've been both the auto queuer and the auto queued.
It gets pretty scary. I don't know. Once the Taric is just completely in your face, smacking you down. But yeah, I agree with you. They definitely have the range advantage and the poke advantage there in that bot lane of TPO.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you said, if Tarek can get into the range there and do his thing. Wait, hold on. Indigo going to find the CC onto B Morris. Dominus going to be popped. On the other hand, Indigo going low, and it's not going to have enough time to have the fear beyond death coming down. But here comes two other members on the side of TPO walking towards B Morris. What can he do to get out of this one? Going to need some fancy feet to get through. Flag drag going to find the CC onto B Morris, keeping himself alive for now. But the Dominus has expired, and there's not much left he can do. Pot of Greed going to be picking up that kill, but with all that committed, that means here to the bottom half of the map, that will be the first Drake going over to the side of TFF Aftershock.
Yeah, Indigo trying to get some revenge in the early game of game 1 here to be the aggressor on that Urgot. But I mean, if you had a Mount Rushmore of early game top lane dominators, Renekton's probably the front facing champion on that Mount Rushmore. Renekton is such a great early fighter, mid game fighter as well, and will catch you off guard when you're half health. I mean, that empowered W into a QE can definitely take you out on any squishy champion. We good. Might not be good down here in the bot lane though. Great traps.
Yeah, will prevent a little bit further movement forward. But it, as you mentioned, they might not be so good with Saber Orca nearby, but it's taking a lot of time to move over. If the option is to try to find a dive here, it might find a move onto Pot of Greed, but no, actually, Saber Orca just not going to go for that at all. They're just going to take the camps and get out, which honestly, not a bad call.
Not at all. Darkseid does need a little bit of CS and items to keep steady in the game, and you're gonna have to keep those decision making on that CS part of your game plan as well in this game 2, sorry, and a lot slower, I would say. Even though there's 3 kills on the map so far at 8 minutes in, this is a lot slower than it was in the game 1 here. And both teams kind of recognizing how the other plays, and they are able to capitalize on that. TFF in general, and saying that, I mean, they got that first dragon when that pressure was up there in the top lane, and they went 1-for-1 up there in the top lane. They didn't lose too much out there, so if they can keep this momentum going, they can force that game 3 pretty easily, and that's what the game plan is going to have to be for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking around, trying to see. I mean, we do have a bit of a slight advantage in terms of movement around the jungle, going to the side of Stabler Orga, to be able to clear those camps a little bit faster. Also heading towards that mid lane, and with B Morris kind of heading down here, maybe a little bit of taken away, but no. Again, just go ahead and move right back up to that top lane. I'm trying to find the next moment of like that big kickoff to the fight. Actually, Ziggy there in the bot standing in the bot lane. I don't know. What do you got?
It would have been a good way to go there in that bot lane, but that ward caught them out. Vixus might be caught out here with the Syndra.
Does have a lot of damage coming through, but not quite enough to find the lethal there on the unstoppable stoppable. Why am I forgetting Syndra's ultimate in its name? Hello? But either way, still not.
I'm trying to help you, but my brain isn't working today either.
You know,
I think we're bouncing off each other's energies today.
We're League of Legends players. Do we actually have? Wait, hold on. Ziggy flag and drag not quite going to find it. There will be Stable Orca flashing away, as it is a lot of distance that B Morris would have to cover to find that kill there. Chomper's not quite going to find the snare onto Chrome alone, and that'll be that fight evaded for now in the bot lane.
I'm gonna be so frustrated if I can't figure out what Syndra's ulti is. I keep wanting to say Scatter of the Week, but I think that's the E.
That's the E
on that champion. Orca having to use that flash away, trying to get some enemy side Krugs up there, but not gonna find them as Ziggy sniffed that one out pretty easily. And Bix is not having a fun time, but he's gonna retaliate here with his ulti.
Yeah,
as he forces Efren to back that one out.
Yeah, it's Sorry, my brain just got stuck on the name of Syndra Ultimate, and it's the only thing that kind of was going through. Unleash Power! Unleash Power! It's Unleash Power!
Go.
It's Unleash Power!
That sounds right.
There it is. I'm 99% certain that's the... It's definitely one of the, weaknesses of mine.
Huge Jinx are in that bot lane. This bot lane's fighting this one out pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, the range advantage coming in huge for the side of TPO's bot lane there. That being said, We Good not really going to have much mana left to start to push out that way, but I mean, we take a look over at that farm count. It's going to be 15 up to the side, and to the side of We Good, and as well as an extra plate. This bottom lane going to be definitely going to be potentially huge. Was that enough to get a full item? Yeah, it is. Actually, Collector picked up by the side of We Good, going to have that as an advantage of any sort of fight that the two ADCs might find themselves in these next few minutes. Wait, hold on. Going to be a movement around the grubs. It's going to be a lot of CC onto Indigo, as well as the immunity coming down. Ziggy going to keep things a little bit slower with the Cataclysm used defensively in a very unusual way, but still very effective to prevent that fight from going on and preventing Tarek really having that huge ultimate coming through. Scatter the Weak going to find Sun onto Bixis. But for now, it's still going to be 5 grubs over to the side of TPO walking wards, and without any sort of way to move into onto this one. Ziggy's Smite is coming back up in just a few moments. That will be confirmed. All 6 grubs going over to the side of TPO walking wards.
The TFF still being very, very reactive instead of interactive with their fighting styles going on. I mean, every ultimate just came out right away. And they're not done fighting yet in this mid lane.
They're not done just yet. That's going to be Fallen Warrior living up to his name in a very unfortunate manner. Going to be that first kill going over to the side of TPO Walking Wards, and going to most likely be that second Drake as well. Beamor's going to try to fight this one out with Indigo. Fear Beyond Death will find its way on it. It is enough this time around for Indigo in the 1v1 to make that solo kill count level between the two of them.
TPO running away with the game so far. 12 minutes in, and they brought it back up to all grubs, tying the dragons, up ahead in kills now, and Indigo getting some redemption up there in that top lane with that ultimate. Had me fooled for a second. I thought B-More should have had another kill under their belt and a couple of plates up there in that top lane, but Indigo coming in clutch with that Urgot ulti. Great job by them. How does TFF respond? And they're not responding too well right now with their pathing. I mean, everybody's still in the spot lane. There's nothing really to be done down there. I think B Morris is going to need a lot of help up there, because they're going to fall off on damage in about 5 or 10 minutes. So you might as well get as much usage out of that Crocodile as fast as possible. With that Rek'Sai ulti, I don't think Urgot can do anything about it. The flash is on cooldown as well. And that's where Orc had the most success in that game 1 as well, as that top lane. And they're able to take everything on top of that. If you're taking some of these members out and thinning out TPO, the objective games will be a lot easier for you, because TPO is a lot more. They're faster to group together and fight together on these objectives than TFF has been.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a common thread that we've mentioned multiple times. The more reactive play from the side of TFF. They've had a few moments where it's worked out for them, but overall, I mean, obviously the end of game 1, but this time around, I don't think you can really play as reactively on this composition that they have drafted for themselves this time around. I think you kind of get away with it last time, with a lot of ways to avoid the fight with the Corki and Nunu kind of wanting people to run into him somewhat. But with Renekton and especially the Rek'Sai, that it's just not a way you can really play those two champions and get away with it. I mean, they do have one saving grace, which is Chrome Alone on the Sivir, and you farm that up, you let that get to 3 items, and then you have enough range between Sivir and Syndra alone to where it could be okay. But still overall, TFF, it's not exactly the look you'd want to see out from the composition that they've given themselves anyway.
I agree with that completely. But you can kind of see the vision that TFF has out of this comp right now. It looks more like a pick comp and a macro comp, which is what their strengths were in that game 1 here, and they kind of improved here on the drafting, I would think, with the Syndra, with the Sivir, with the Rek'Sai, and the Renekton as well. So if they can make this function for the better part of this game, they should be able to come out with a win and tie the series up. I mean, Efren's looking way more alive on the Syndra than they were on the Hwei. Not saying they played the way bad. I'm just saying that it was just a poke champion, and Syndra is the same kind of way, but they're able to actually do a lot more damage on this one. This Retail is going about quarter health, and they might be fighting for this one.
They're going to be moving on towards this one. Ziggy staying on it, but his team taking all the damage in return. The unleashed power not going to find the kill there. And as you're saying, Ziggy does well to stay on it and to pick up the Rift Herald, but it will come at the cost of his life. Stable Orca going to be able to pick that one up. So a bit of a a trade there, and really I don't dislike it there from the side of from Ziggy if they can start to really open up this map a little bit more. If they can give themselves the initiative in these fights, we know exactly how they've been able to perform. Beamor's now going to pop the Dominus, but Indigo going to land the Fear Beyond Death, getting low, and now has found the range to get the kill on the second cast of that ultimate. Indigo picked up a second solo kill here on the Urgot.
Yeah, I don't know if Rek'Sai wants to fight here. They're walking
I don't know you want the Orca. I don't.
That's not the guy you want to mess with anymore. Maybe when Renekton's there, you want to fight that one out, but I need to see Orca be proactive in this top lane here. That's really your bread and butter is at Renekton. That's your biggest tank. That's your biggest engage and your biggest fighter on that team. So if they're falling behind, that's going to show how it's going to look like for the rest of the game for you right now. Because that Renekton is, like I said, doesn't have that much time here to be relevant in this game right now. And if they're falling behind in that top lane, it's going to be even worse for them and even faster of a fall off and a steeper cliff for them as well. So Stabler Orca has to be the leader of this group right now and really engage these fights correctly and put some pressure on the map here.
Hold on, Ziggy going to be the one trying to find a way through, but every single time we've seen Stabler Orca flash, it's always been defensively going out to keep himself alive there for now. Teleport getting dropped by Indigo. Started this fight going to be trying to picked up by the side of TFF, but they're not going to find anything, and as now Indigo is here for that fight with how big they are currently. There's not much they can really do, and it's going to be advantaged over to the side of TPO towards the start, at least in positioning for this fight. B. Morris not going to find the stun there, at least Fallen Warrior, and that's going to be that's going to be the Renekton going down again. I thought it would have been enough time for Fallen Warrior to keep his top laner alive, but without any Taric ultimate and down a man, there's no really way in to get the kill on, or to get a fight started. Chromalone doing a lot of work on the Pot of Greed for now, and actually back into this fight. Sable Orca can't quite find the steal away, can't quite get out either, and that's going to be yet another kill going over to the side of TPO walking wards, and a lot of advantages. Once again, TPO, it's very strongly TPO favored.
I'm waiting for this Jinxar. That's a low Taric and a Collector on We Good, but it hasn't really come out yet. A lot of poke damage coming right back down. The mid lane of TPO was trying to crack this open with that Rift Herald. Won't really find too much, but they found a lot in that dragon fight. I mean, took down B. Morris, took down Orca again.
Oh, Indigo. Efron going to find the stun on the Scat of the Week. The Pot of Greed will keep his top laner alive for now. And here comes Ziggy. Cataclysm will get 3. And these Jinx ult will find a lot of damage, but Indigo now taking down in return. B-Mor's here, popping the Dominus on the back end, going for his flash out of We Good as well. Chromalone going down, the bouncing. The ricochets won't quite be enough to pick up the Jinx, but it's very scary there for We Good. He is indeed good for now, but Bixis in the wrong side of this fight, going to be stunned up there. Has Efron going to be able to take down that kill. A bit of a blunder there from Bixis to try to help his team out on a flank, but flanking Victor has not exactly ever been meta for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, I definitely thought that Jinx was going down right there. Unfortunately, they have a S3 not a Collector, but it should be able to do a lot more damage with a couple items on top of that. With that being said, TFF is scrappy, and I love seeing that out of a team, even if they're winning or losing, doesn't matter what. I just like seeing action upon action. Orca find himself into a bad situation here with Ziggy, but he'll walk that one out and swim his Rek'Sai body away. Yeah, TFF laning phase needs some work. Needs a little bit of love there in that laning phase. I mean, that's easy to fix though. That's just solo queue, just grinding away and figuring out your matchups and everything like that. But their mid game is just okay. We lost the fight. We have TPs up. Let's do it. Let's run it back. Run it back. Doesn't matter if we win or lose. Oh, we lost that dragon fight. Let's just keep fighting it. Baron fight, same thing as that. We're coming into the part where TFF kind of came back in that game one was this 21-minute, 20-minute era of the game phase here. And we could see their play style really come to light and take it back over for them and put them in a winning position here, back in that driver's seat in the middle of this game here. It all comes down to just kind of team diff though, in the way of draft here. Ziggy has just been taking over game after game after game with this J4 objectives, all on the side of TPO.
I don't know
as well.
if this is exactly where you want to be. Obviously, does have the ability to revive himself should it really come down to it. We'll be fine for now. One of those things that Zillion does that I kind of forgot. Wait, hold on. This is where you want to be for we good, he not so good. Efron picking up the shutdown. Uh-oh. That's going to be a lot of gold going onto the Sindri, onto, I'd have to assume, because it was taken away from Efron in the draft of Game 1. Probably going to be one of the more favored picks there. And for the mid laner of TFF, going to just get that much more gold under their belts. But it's also a bit funny how this Game 2 kind of, at least so far, has mirrored Game 1 in a lot of ways. Maybe not to the same extremes, at least in the early game, for the side of TFF, and they didn't quite give up as much, but still, kind of seeing a similar situation here brewing here in Game 2, where, I mean, it's largely TPO doing better in the early game, and then a bit of a comeback now from TFF through some good fights, through just constant trial and error, but eventually getting a few fights going their way. But if it's anything like Game 1, hold on, it's going to be Indigo suffering in a 2v1. B Morris here alongside Stabler Orca. A lot of damage coming through. The Super Mega Death Rocket not going to find the mark. And that will be the kill going over to TFF.
This is what I've been saying all game, too. Play through that top lane. We knew that Indigo was being very aggressive on the Urgot. We knew that Renekton was losing the fight, but only by a sliver of health here because of that Urgot execute. If the execute was not in that fight, they wouldn't be losing it. Trying to see what Ziggy wants to do here. I thought they were going to flash R as soon as possible there, but they will choose to walk that one back out after Scatter of the Week goes down. So yeah, I mean, play through that top lane, and now you're one less person you have to fight in this team fight here.
Trouble here for now. Going to have to use the flag and drag to get away. Won't be available for the next few seconds. Pot of Greed, kind of moving a little bit far forward. Has used that speed up onto We Good. That cooldown not going to be available for the next few seconds as the jostling for position. You'd have to expect to go to the side of TFF as they have all 5 members here. But Indigo does have teleport, and as this Drake starts up, we'll have to see whether or not this gets contested at all. But by the positioning of a TPO, it does look like they are just going to concede this Drake to make it 2-2 in trade count.
TFF showing what they do best. Mid-game plays, mid-game fighting, running it down in good situations here. They get their second Drake, and they are tying up the game a little bit here. They're actually in the driver's seat. Gold lead over to them by about 1,000 here. B-Morris, you don't want this. That is a quarter health tower with no minions on it. You're going to take half your health gone by a couple tower shots there. It is a tempting situation to be in, though, when those towers are so low. Updates with League, though, make it sword, take a tower down. No matter what the health is, without a minion wave with
minions, you. Yeah, especially without minions, without any grubs. But, well, Fallen Warrior's taken down to about half HP. I mean, a lot of jostling around this Baron, and obviously, Baron, a really big neutral objective to be claimed. But how much is committed for this one? I don't exactly. They're committing a lot. They're oddly committing a lot to this. Yeah. They actually will start up the Baron. I was thinking to myself, there's no way they start this, right? But in fact, there is, yes, a way that they start this, but there's still a lot of members of the side of TFF nearby. They should know that they're still here. Stabler, Orca, and Efron in the area. There will be vision on it now. They should have at least some knowledge that at least they're on it, but now the rest of TPO will move away. Just, trying to feel things out, see if they can't sneak in, can force... And at least force TFF to respect that, but
TPO seems like they live and die by that Baron. So I figured as soon as they sat on it, they were going to go for it. I like the respect to them for those kind of plays here, and that's really what their team counts are dependent on, is cracking open that base, keeping the macro in their favor, and
cool. Fallen Warrior going to flash there. I think it's a bit premature, but at the very least, stable Orca now going to going to get caught out. Does have that flash shield available as Efron is here, but at half health, the jungler now going to opt to start this recall. Won't be envisioned though, so I don't know. They're around this Baron again. I do. On one hand, I really like how they position around this Baron aggressively and how they threaten to take it so much, but on the other hand, it might be a little bit too much so. But with Saber Orca having fully recalled now, and 4 members in around this Baron, they're starting to burst it down at around half health, but Teleport going to be committed from Indigo, actually from both solo laners here. That's going to be a lot of damage taken down immediately. Ziggy low. Fallen Warrior going to be able to get the Cosmic Radiance in time onto himself to stay alive, get that first kill. Stable Orca there on the Rek'Sai ult will find the Scatter Week, will pick up 2 though. Without any sort of assist from anybody else, that's going to be Efron with the triple kill. In a very unorthodox way, there are the 2 stuns on the Scout of the Week, not the easiest thing to do. And with a 4-for-0 going over to the side of TFF, they will pick up this Baron and TPO. You know, I did say I could respect that they tried to force these Barons, but I don't think it's a little bit too forced.
Efren coming alive in this game too. Great job by the side of TFF to make TPO respect the decisions that they are making. They made that Baron bed, and now they lie in that Baron waste that is taken over by TFF. Efren, shout out to that Syndra gameplay. 6-0-2, 3 items already, 226 on that CS. Victor has been trying to keep up with it, but Scatter of the Week with a couple of Qs on the ground and the follow-up with the ulti. I mean, they set up both the retake of that Baron and the picks over there by Orca and Renekton. And TPO looking like they want to get some revenge here, but it's not the time and not the place right now.
Oh, that's not where you want to be. Pot of Greed going to keep himself alive for now, but I just don't think that it's going to do much for themselves. Efron going to pick up yet another kill on this Syndra, now moving up to 7-0-2 in a very dominant performance here for the mid laner of TFF. Like, Ziggy, this is not where you want to be. B-Morse also here to try to get this away. No longer has a flag, and Drag will try to get over to the Blast Cone, but instead will commit the flash to get away. Will get away now, but as I mentioned, no flash there on Ziggy. As a huge point of what you would want to see to try to maybe turn this fight around, at least a start. Oh no, it is an un-CC'd Scatter the Week.
Oh no.
Full health getting taken away from We Good. He not so good after that. Sent to the gray screen now, and with numbers advantage over to the side of TPO walking wards, it's going to be another perfect Scatter the Week from Efron. Going to pick up Pot of Greed, force that ultimate off the Zillion. Without that available, Efron, could they find another perfect Scatter the Week without any sort of CC helping that really onto anybody at this point is almost certainly a kill.
It's Efron's show right now. We are thankful to watch it as this Syndra play is out.
You don't want to be walking into Syndra. Scatter the Week, not quite going to find the stun onto Indigo this time around. Bixis, oh my god, that's going to be the
It's disgusting right now. The Syndra damage is insane. I mean, just QE, just spamming it, and
oh my goodness,
anybody in that path is going down. It's a one-man wrecking crew right now from Efren, and they're ready to end the game. They don't care about who's in front of them right now.
Yeah, oh my god, he found another Scatter of the Week. Another stun. He's done. That has been, I'm pretty sure that has been 5 times in the last 2 minutes alone. No CC on the Scatter of the Week, still finding the stun, getting a kill onto another key target, just moving too far forward. If you're Bixis, if you are We Good, you just have to respect the amount of damage that the Syndra can do if she finds just any sort of tick on that ability landing onto you. You're just dead, and you know, not quite respecting that. Oh my god, it is another stun on the Scatter of the Week from Efron. Efron. It's a clinic. It's a clinic. It's a clinic from Efron, really. If this is how you Syndra, guys. You walk up, you press Q. You wait for them to walk into your stun. Oh my god. It's another Efron kill.
It's a slow walk for me.
It's the same. It's every time. 5 seconds. It's another Scatter of the Week from Efron finding yet another kill. At some point, like,
You stop walking up at some point, right?
Yeah,
I
TPO, they just have to realize that Efron's going to do this if you just get close to him. My guess is that I guess there's some amount of faith in their own abilities to say, hey, we won't get stunned while we aren't CC'd by Efron, but it has yet to happen. So
I mean, Vixus had flash the whole time. We good had flash and barrier the whole time too. Pot of Greed wasted 3 ultis trying to do something to that one. Efren was walking like a Michael Myers or a Jason, just slowly walking at them as they line themselves up again. Pot of Greed is not having a good time right now as they're looking to make plays and get vision, but it's just not working out for them. And then TFF hasn't stopped.
Indigo is going to get CC'd up here. The rest of the team of the side of TPO is here to support, but at this point, there's not really much they can do. And at the very least, TFF did find the turret that they came here for. They're not going to slow down any longer. And even though so far it has been the Efron show, it's going to be the stasis used by Efron, though. Not going to have that available at the very least. But I mean, even though it definitely has been the Efron show. Sorry, let's not take anything away from that, Ziggy. Oh my goodness, going to be taken. No way. Okay, he's fine. I was about to say, there's no way that the Jarvan also goes down in 1 spell rotation from Efron, which apparently there's not, but it was awfully close.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Efren, after that whole showing out in that bid in bot lane there, they backed and bought a whole Zanya's off the rip. Yeah, they definitely snowballed into oblivion right now. Syndra is looking to end the game with the rest of the team members on their back. I mean, they jumped from a 2K gold lead up to a 8 to 9K gold lead just off that one play here. 2 inhibs mid and bot lane, and they took out the top lane tower without even having to get objectives. They did get an Infernal Drake off the start of that one, and I think that's why the side of TPO felt kind of confident to walk into Syndra like that. But with that being said, you're just going to have to 5-man flash into Syndra and hope it works out in your favor. You've seen the Zanyas go down. I think that might have been my kind of calling card to just say we win or lose off of this play right here, because right now it's just looking like a bloodbath here for Efren, and they're going to send 4 people top lane because Efren is wanting to have that 1v9 experience right now, as you do see that the other 3 members of TPO are in that bot lane kind of farming this one out, trying to stay alive. Baron started over here for TFF, and that should be pretty free for the side of TFF.
Yeah, Ziggy on the opposite side of the map. This should absolutely be, barring an incredible Super Mega Death Rocket from We Good, not going to be used there. It has gone Baron over to the side of TFF, and now the resulting fight going to be Ziggy caught out, going to have to flash away. Chomper's doing a lot of work to prevent the rest of it. Efron going to find 2 on the Scout of the Week. Zanya's coming through. Cosmic Radiance going to keep everyone alive, but it's a bit mistimed. Efron going low without the Zanyas for now, but at the very least, Chromalone still alive, still has a lot of damage on that Sivir should they try to fight this. Chromalone going to be stunned up, finding 4 on Vixus there, getting a lot of stuns through, preventing a disastrous fight coming out there. Vixus doing well to at least keep this alive for a little bit longer with the gravitational field.
Yeah, the only thing that can really save TPO at the moment right now is going to be Jinx scaling and Victor scaling. If they can't get those 2 online before Efren rolls in with the team and kind of rolls this one down into that Nexus, it's going to be game over for them, as they are struggling to deal with even super minions in their base right now. But it is giving them a lot of CS in their...
Sources say We Good was there. I don't exactly believe those sources. Maybe
I
not
blinked.
The most
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I didn't see any evidence of We Good being there myself. And as the rest of this fight, Vixus going low, you have to feel that's probably going to be yet another kill going over to the side of TFF. And as B-Morses moves onto the back lane, that's going to be any sort of damage taken down for nothing over to the side of TFF. It has certainly felt inevitable for at least the last 4 minutes that this would be the result. And that's going to be Game 3 locked in between TPO and TFF.
Couple of thoughts here. Couple of thoughts. Don't give Efren Syndra ever for the rest of the series, for the rest of the league here. Any team playing TFF, ban that out. You don't want to see that. That is a stone cold killer assassin on that Syndra right now. No fear in their bones. Once they knew they could one-shot somebody, they went for everybody, and the whole team went down on the side of TPO. And Efren, you get my MVP vote for that game 2 here. Hopefully you can carry out the success in the game 3. With that being said, Syndra's going to be definitely banned out here in this game 3. So find something else that Efren can feel like a carry on. No matter what it is, don't put him on a Hwei Poke champion. Put them on somebody who's going to carry. Great job by the rest of the TFF. I know I gave a huge spotlight to Efren, but the rest of the team did their job. Renekton stopped running it down in the top lane against Urgot, kind of stopped trying to 1v1 that whole time right there and learned their lesson in that part. Orca helped out that top lane as well, kind of stomped out that fire before it became a huge inferno too. Urgot was able to be a top lane carry, but was not able to be there for their team, unfortunately. Ziggy grabbed everything on the map, but it just wasn't enough there. And with that being said, the bot lane of TFF also held it down and kept it respectable, and were able to do their job as well. TPO, brush your shoulders off, run it back, find something where you can team fight again on that you don't have to really scale into, and you should be able to get it going for game 3 here. Isaac, any last thoughts in this game 2?
There's zero chance that we see Syndra again next game. Zero chance.
Yeah.
That's my last thought. But when we come back after the break, we will have the draft available for game 3 here between TPO, Walking Wards, and TFF Aftershock. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be bringing that to you in just a few moments.
see you, peekaboo, I see you, looking at me, looking at you. Hold up, where you going? What you doing? Who you seeing? What you need? What you want? I said, without you by my side, my side, my side. Without you by my side. One time from side to side. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. One time from side to side.
Let's go, Isaac. We're back, and we finally have a best of 3 that's going to game 3. Back here with Titan Esports Divinity League, TPO versus TFF. TFF kept it going, kept the rev meter on high, and they have not stopped since that game 1. I mean, they really showed who they are as a team. Their identity is, I will fight you. Meet me in the mall, it's going down. Meet me in the club, it's going down. Meet me anywhere you meet me, it's going to go down, because they are ready to fight anything and everything in front of them. Great job by them. If I'm TPO right now, I need to figure out, am I going to fight fire with fire? Or am I going to cool it down, wait for my objectives, wait for my team fight, and keep it that way? What do you think, Isaac?
I think it was close until they started forcing those barons. I think they definitely could have been a lot more patient around that neutral objective. It's one of those things that if you can like react to it quickly enough, as we know that TFF Aftershock have been able to do, they're definitely a much more reactive team so far in these first 2 games. Trying to flip barons in the way that they did certainly favors the team that I think is coming in afterwards if you can't just burst it down in a few seconds. So that's one thing that I like the pressure that TPO was trying to put on in that situation. I could see the idea, but maybe just a little more patient around the Baron specifically, and I think TPO should be fine. But some other things coming into this one. TFF Aftershock, again winning on blue side, again losing on red side. They only have one red side win. They also only have one blue side loss so far. And it seems to be continuing with that. Their only one red side win also came up against Sun Lero. And I'm assuming that we have it, given that TPO should have a choice, they will pick blue side. But also coming into this, TPO Walking Wards have yet to have a game 3 so far this season. Every last one of their first 4 series have only ended in 2. So this is kind of new ground for them as well. So we've got a lot of few question marks coming in on these 2 teams, how they handle this sort of these situations that they find themselves in now.
Yeah, this was my prediction. Tonight was going to be a game 3, a force of a game 3, because we're in week 4. We've kind of weeded out who the top teams are, who the middle teams are, and then who the bottom teams are. So when you have 2 middle teams going at it, you're definitely going to see the records that they have matching up. So these two teams are both competitive and both fighting for a top spot here. And that bye week and the playoff bracket that's going to be happening in a couple weeks here. And with that being said, you could see that they're probably where they're supposed to be here with that 1-3 and the 2-2 for the TPO side. So the problem with TFF is if with their team fighting and their play style, either it's going to work or they're going to find themselves in that gray area where they're behind like they were in game 1, where that team is just whatever team it is, TPO having that better team fighting draft in that game 1 is me knocking on your Nexus door and winning just based off of draft diff. So hopefully TPO can get that blue side taken away from TFF and kind of knock them back into having a fight and be uncomfortable on that red side like they are. And if they don't, TFF should have a huge game plan on what's going to happen that game 3, and they should be able to have a great mentality and teamwork going in that game 3 as well, because they show that they can fight this team and beat them. So hopefully they can carry out the momentum in this game 3, and the draft should be able to reflect that as well.
Yeah. On the other hand, I mean, a large portion of that win from TFF Aftershock, we saw lots of solo brilliance from Efron in a lot of those fights, especially towards the end, being able to land the CC on Scatter the Weak. Not exactly easy to do. It's so, on one hand, yes. On the other hand, I would be shocked. I would be cool. I would be stunned. I would be tempted to just walk up and leave if TFF Aftershock do end up getting Syndra in this, and that was a huge part of their victory, mind you.
I mean, you're talking 0.01% in that one. I mean, there's that way.
Yeah, I was like, hold back a little bit. I'm not as bullish on TFF Aftershock's chances because of that. Because certainly there's no way.
Yeah.
Right? On red, I'm assuming that they're going to be on red side.
On that topic here, Syndra not going through. Way didn't work out. I don't know if Efren plays Assassins, but Assassin laning phase kind of sucks and doesn't put you in the situation there in that late game either. So, I mean, Veigar was banned out a couple of times too. I don't know who is in that champ pool that can fit that void in this game 3. Is there anybody that pops up in your mind?
I don't know Efron's pool specifically.
Only thing I think is Acel. That's it. That's the only one. Maybe Acel. Acel could be up there. Maybe Anivia.
Yeah,
but
maybe
I mean, these
Lux.
are all champions that were Lux going to. Already we're seeing Kaisa, Veigar banned out. Tom Kenshin, TFF probably going to respond with the J4 ban. They let it out 2 games already. And I mean, you got to make Ziggy feel uncomfortable at least 1 game out of the 3 here and knock them off of their kind of game plan. They've had the same game plan. Take every objective that's up on the map if possible. And that's been working for them. Rek'Sai banned out here for TPO.
Syndra's still available. And assuming Efron, I mean, there's no way TFF TFF bans it to make sure TPO doesn't first pick
it. That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Because I was going to say, if the Syndra makes it through, TPO has to first pick it, considering game 2. But yeah, it won't go through. But
TFF probably already knew it wasn't going to go through anyway, so they probably game planned
get a
it
run back.
for
We
it not
get a
going
little bit
through.
of a run back though, with the blue side B1 Seraphine from TPO so far. So no real changes there. But Viego was a champion that was unavailable last time. You said and maybe not last time, but before, one that you wanted to see out from you wanted to see there coming from TFF, and there it is, followed up by the Braum.
I mean, Orca just looks like they play those champions that are just gonna make or break a game here. I mean, Rek'Sai isn't really in that category, but it's still a damage dealing tanky jungler. Viego is such a powerful jungler where you can really 1v9 like Efren did on that Syndra last game with just that Viego on top of that. They're going to take the Braum away from the game plan that TPO kind of had of running it back. Shen is going to be there with that Seraphine, but Hecarim not going to be that power play maker in that early game and mid game that Ziggy likes to play on that J4. They're going to have a lot of time to scale that one up, and I do love that top lane Mordekaiser pick.
Yeah, into the Shin, certainly going to be a valuable option. You can pop that passive very easily on a champion that wants to be in those close quarters, and especially into what is a relatively short range composition for now. I doesn't necessarily have to stay that way with what's been given. Seraphine certainly can enable any different types of range composition, but at least to what's showing, Mordekaiser is certainly a good option.
Seraphine could be flexed out here. Mid lane has not picked on the side of TFF yet, and I think they're kind of guessing that Seraphine could be flexed as well. Pot agreed again plays anything and everything. Zillion didn't really work out in their favor, but I think it's because they were used to that Braum being so tanky, walking right up to everything, tanking everything, but that's going to be on the side of Fallen Warrior this time.
Yeah, and now Sivir going to be picked up by Chromon. It honestly got a little bit overshadowed last time out with Efron's Syndra, but Chrome also didn't necessarily do all too bad on the Sivir, and it definitely fits that sort of like champion that Chrome does want to lock in. One of our highest damage dealers in the Divinity League so far, but two marksmen moving in onto the side of TPO, going to be that Seraphine Senna bot lane, as well as Tristana there. I'm in the mid, I'm assuming there, and is certainly I much prefer Bixis getting a heavy damage dealing champion like this Tristana than what we saw, even though it worked out in game 1 on the Seraphine.
Yeah, there's a lot to be broken down here. So we got the Seraphine Senna in that bot lane, like you were saying earlier, and the Tristana in the mid lane, but the Hecarim is really an X factor on that TPO side, and I don't know where it's really going to fit out on this team right now. There's a lot of healing to keep those two carries alive of the Hecarim and Tristana, but we're falling in that damage category again. Is there enough damage this time to carry them out into a mid and late game priority? TFF just picked 1v1 bros in every lane here, so I mean Mordekaiser, Talia, Viego, and that bot lane of Sivir and Braum are going to be locking down Seraphine and Senna pretty easily here. They should be able to tank out that damage and healing as well. So, I mean, it's a big what if in this game 3, and I love it because there's going to be a lot of fighting, and that's what TFF loves to do. Talia could be making a lot of plays as well with those ultimates, and I'm just excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, and also this TFF draft does kind of fit in a different way to how they wanted, or not necessarily in a different way, but in a more than one way. Is not only is it that kind of always fighting thing, if they do get into a team fight situation, they definitely very much like the we kill one and then we find and then we reset and then we kill another and then we pull back and then we go again, is how they've won a lot of their fights so far. And so TFF, they've got themselves a composition that, I mean, between Mordekaiser and Viego alone is certainly exactly what they want to have on their side, at least to fit that style of play, which I don't suspect they'll be changing at this point, both in the season and in the series.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect them to, especially not this late in the series as well. I mean, we're 4 weeks in, and if it's working at least 50% of the time, then I mean, you just got to keep building and building and building on what your identity is as a team here. TPO though, they play more standard. I mean, this is a standard team fight oriented 1 or 2 carry team, a couple of tanky people, and if you don't have a tankiness onto it, you're gonna have that healing to make up for it. TFF, shout out to Pro Comps on that draft score, having the better draft again in terms of likability for Pro Comps here, 54.29% compared to TPO's 45.71%. I believe Pro Comps leans more towards action guaranteed champions as the fight in the bot lane breaks out.
Going to get marked by the Braum passive, going to get taken down to about half health, already using that heal and going to go down now. First blood going over to Chrome alone within the first 2 minutes. Advantage TFF very early on.
Yeah, and I mean, that we knew this was going to happen. I mean, they're feeling confident. They're feeling very, very
Fallen Warrior going to find another mark onto We Good. Going to get dissuaded by that tower, though. I thought for a second that might have been a second kill going on to the side of TFF's bot lane for very momentarily, especially if Chromalone was able to find an auto attack there, but it'll be fine for now.
Kind of a forgotten bot lane too. I mean, Sivir Braum is nothing to joke on.
Oh, we good. This is not where you want to be. The Unbreakable going to go up, and we good. He's not doing so great himself there in the first 3 minutes. It's got a lot of action here in the bot lane now, and TFF doing a great job of that. Indigo 4-7-4 winning game 1. A bit of an interesting player to highlight in that game 1 out of all the members of TPO, if we're being completely honest.
Indigo has the factors what you want out of a top laner, though. I mean, they're not going to cry for ganks. They're not going to force you to do anything up there in that top lane. They're just saying, hey, if you can win that game without me, I will do whatever I can to keep as much pressure and eyes on me as you guys will go out and take that game over. And that's what happened in that game 1. So, I mean, the KDA and the shout-outs don't really say a lot for Indigo, but the win does. And look out, Wall Street, let's go TPO. And yeah, TPO definitely has a lot on their plate right now with that first blood over to TFF. TFF very favored in my opinion. Shout out Newport 100. And it's just another standard start though. I mean, TPO definitely has to slow things down again and keep everything intact for them. They don't want this game to get out of their hands. There's 5 solo carries on the side of TFF right now.
Yeah, and well, that is exactly what TFF likes to do. But all the while, I mean, it's been a little bit. As funny as it is, we're not even 4 minutes in to say that it's been a little bit slower from Stabler Orca, but it has been a little bit slower from Stabler Orca.
Yeah, usually we're seeing at least 2 or 3 ganks right now at 4 or 5 minute mark. Stabler Orca looking to hit that level 6 as soon as possible, though. Looking for some extra farm on the other side of the jungle, but now I see Indigo in their sights.
Literally right as you say that, it's a gank from Stable Orca trying to come through. Not going to find the stun onto Indigo, though, and it's a pretty difficult gank onto that Shin anyway. Vixis, though, getting a almost full E there, getting detonated onto Efron, getting a decent amount of damage there, but nothing much else in that exchange. Wait, hold on, Indigo is fine, actually.
Another back here from Silver Orca on a ward, though. Here comes Ziggy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's definitely the right choice from Ziggy.
So, I mean, there's one thing to point out here is that Hecarim and Viego kind of have the same kind of goal in mind. I mean, Viego can execute a little bit easier than Hecarim can. Hecarim needs a lot more than just that level 6. But they both want to farm up, hit level 6, gank when there's a great opportunity, and just kind of steamroll their team into a victory. It's going to be a lot harder for that Hecarim to do anything, really, until Pod agreed and we good get out of this bot lane. And I mean, TPO, they just got to slow things down, keep it in their favor.
And speaking of things being in favor, at least this side in TFF, we start to see a little bit of how those trades are a bit expected to go from B Morris. There, we good actually going to have that recall stop. But, I mean, hold on, I had a point.
I think your point was to say how Chrome Malone is running it back on the Sivir again and looking very confident on it. And I mean, 1-0, the Cole already going down, and now they're just farming it out, not feeling too pressured to make anything happen after that too. Fallen Warrior is on a more standard champion this time. Went from the Thresh to the Taric and now on the Braum. So I'm waiting to see if they can make the same kind of plays happen in the later parts of this game with that WR combo or WQ combo into that R from the Braum, and make plays happen for their team. Because, I mean, right now that they don't really have that gap closer that they were so used to, or that huge range on the E that Taric had.
Yeah, and, well, actually, if we're talking about that Taric game, it definitely left a lot to be desired. A lot of those Cosmic Radiances weren't exactly on point, but, I mean, there's still a very common thread with these 3 champions that Fallen Warrior has decided to go through, that very much defensive, sort of tanky support. And I know Thresh definitely does have the ability to find some picks out, but not so much these days. I mean, the cooldown on the death sentence, it's frankly just a bit too long for it to be thing they can use all too consistently. I at least, frankly, in my opinion, for what
It
that's
should
worth.
be good for him on this Braum game then. I mean, those cooldowns are pretty low in terms of a support. We are seeing some proactiveness out of Orca right now, already on the grubs. Usually they are watching TPO take the grubs here at the 7-minute mark. And we don't see Hecarim on that dragon yet, taking that blue buff away from the bot lane though.
Yeah, it would be the first set of grubs of the series for TFF should they be the one to take it, and considering how we're positioning for a trade in neutral objectives here. That will be a slight change of pace for Game 3, at least in that way.
And that's what we want to see out of both teams here, improving after every game, making sure they don't make the same mistakes over and over again.
Hold on, Ziggy's level 6, going to try to find Fallen Warrior, who goes unbreakable, so going to absorb pretty much all of that damage from Bixis. And not really going to find much else there. It's, ever since that first kill, this is not exactly what we've come to expect from these two teams. B Morse going to stop the back there, but all the while here in the jungle, Stabler, Orca going to find a decent amount of initial damage onto the side of Ziggy, both level 6 Bixis in the area, so that will be Stabler, Orca realizing that there's movement away from that mid lane and going to move off that, but still no kills as a result.
Couple of patterns I see happening here. TFF not afraid to fight anything. TPO always loving a good wombo combo, and B Morris is not afraid of any tower or any tower shots so far in this whole series. Stabler's going to caught out
though is going to get taunted as well, flashing over, and that's going to be Indigo getting that first kill. But meanwhile, in the bottom side of the map, that's going to be Pod of Greed flashing away, and we good getting slowed up. So 2 flashes gone off the on the very immobile bot lane of TPO. So definitely a certain target down there for Stabler Orca to try to find out in the next few minutes.
Yeah, Orca getting caught out right there, but that leaves the bot lane TFF open to make some plays down here, knowing that Ziggy is up there farming.
B Morris going to send Ziggy to the death realm and take him down to about half HP. There's nowhere Ziggy can to go for now. He'll come out now. Stand United will try to find its way down, but it's not nearly enough in the amount of time available, and that's going to be a really long cooldown that's not going to be available to Indigo for like the next 2.5 minutes even.
Yeah, definitely going to wish you had that on the next dragon or grub fight that should be happening soon. That being said, I'm hoping that TPO goes for those grubs so they don't have to force out a TP or, they won't have that TP or ulti to get that 5-man advantage. Orca lucked out, forcing Ziggy into their red buff and trading out those kills. So, I mean, I was going to talk about Orca's kind of bluff up there.
E. Morris. He'll be fine, though. Does have the ability to pop out that shield on the Mordekaiser to keep him fine for now. I thought first, anyway.
No, I mean, Indigo, again, showing that Shen can really surprise anybody at any time with a lot of damage going on, even with full tank stats up there. Indigo, 71 to B Morris's 81 at CS, but B Morris doesn't have an ulti up there, so should be able to farm freely on this side here. Looking at the gold stats we have going on, 300 gold lead for the Hecarim, 77 to 62 CS of the Viego, 81 to 92 Talia farming like a monster in that mid lane, 300 gold up as well. And here's the real crazy stat that's going on in this bot lane. They are carrying in that CS gold lead, an 87 farm and a Dirk, a Cole that's almost completed already, a pickaxe. This Sivir is a hidden carry, I think, for TFF that they weren't really ready for, and must be something that Chromalone's either used to playing or they picked it up for the series because they've been pulling it out for the second time now. And it's really going to surprise TPO's team fight when there's a Braum running at you full speed with an R.
Yeah, and it definitely got overshadowed last game with Efron, so definitely did a decent amount of work though when we got to the final screen there, the post-game screen. Thank you, words. Onto the post-game screen, it did a surprising amount of damage there, and despite obviously the main focus being on that Syndra, so if Chromalone can definitely has the ability to pirate this champion, but I say that now that's going to be Chromalone getting charmed up there. Actually, no, it's going to be We Good going to miss that completely, and now Chromalone can turn this around. So without that extra CC, Chromalone going to be able to auto attack freely, getting that first kill over the side of TFF. Weaver's Wall going to cut things off a little bit for Pot of Greed going down. Now double kill going over to Efron. So I stand a little bit corrected there. We Good going to get thrown back by Efron, trying to find a triple kill there onto the well, not really ADC, but bot laner of TPO there. As it's going to be 2
Crumble
kills
saying
for
call an
nothing.
ambulance, but not for me on that play right there. We Good not able to connect that landing blow on the Seraphine, which could have turned that tide in that fight right now. Indigo trying to put his hand at a 1v2 situation in the Grubs, 1v3 now with B Morris up there. And TFF, we haven't seen this out of them yet. They are winning their laning phases right now with all these towers still up. Ziggy trying to get a return kill.
You don't want to be here, and it's not going to be able to use the spell shield at the right time to stop the CC, and that'll be a relatively easy kill. Going over to the side of TPO, walking wards. Well, at the very least, they'll be able to get that back, as well as the Drake.
That's second Drake for them here in this bot lane of TPO. 2-4, and Goldie's up by 2K for TFF. We're seeing a whole different team. We're seeing a huge restructure in the mindset, the draft, the decision making here out of this team. Orca coming into their own right now in this game 3 as well, showing a lot of growth from that game 1 Nunu to the game 3 Viego, and hopefully TFF can continue their success and get a second win on their series.
You know, perhaps getting a little bit too far forward there. Is still on that Hecarim, able to hop away. But yeah, TFF. This is the first time that we've seen a. I mean, I would not.
It's a whole new team, Isaac. It's a whole new team.
Perhaps. I mean, if they could definitely carry over this early lead into the mid game, and we definitely saw a lot of really strong mid games from the side of TFF Aftershock, even in the game 1 that they ended up getting taken down eventually, but it's a bit of a highlight back to a little bit earlier. TFF Efron sitting 6-2-2 there on Natalia, so clearly a champion that we didn't quite think of off the top of our heads as that sort of mage that Efron would be able to pick up to in place for that Syndra, but early on definitely showing like that is the choice. Finding a few of those seismic shoves as well without any C, similar to that Syndra game where they're hitting the CC on the on the scatter of the week without any sort of assistance from the team.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should have guessed that one because Efren loves to EQ and throw a lot of projectiles. So why not add 10 more projectiles to a champion and throw Efren on it, as they can hit every single ability, as we've seen from that Syndra game, and towards the later of the game carrying their team into that game 2 win, tying the series up. You're gonna see it Rift Herald on the side of TPO being taken down. Ziggy, even though they're not on that J4, still taking every objective on the map possible that's left up there. Only down 1 set of grubs. So, I mean, they're sitting in a pretty good situation here. That's got to keep this momentum going, keep TFF on their toes, because once TFF feels comfortable, they're coming full force at you with everything they have available here. And I'm trying to see if Ziggy's going to want to make a play here in this mid lane with that Rift Herald, or just kind of wait it out here for that dragon. They could go a long ways with the 3rd dragon on their side here, because they're going to need a lot of help in this later part of the game to keep up with that damage that TFS is going to have and their scaling possibilities with that Viego, the Talia, the Mordekaiser. It's going to be a rough game going forward here for TPO if they don't keep themselves on track.
That's if they don't, but honestly, it is a little bit against the run of play that TPO were able to pick up that Rift Herald. I would have suspected that the Rift Herald would have been at least contested somewhat by the side of TFF with the 6 scrubs under their belt to be able to start to open up this map a little bit more with like I said, with those scrubs, the extra tower damage. But instead, Stabler Orca, despite opting to go and try to pick up farm and letting that play out the way it was, it's still Ziggy sitting up on a little bit more gold there over his opposition. So, at the very it might not show it so far, but
I don't know about you, Isaac. I'm ready for some fighting to happen. I'm ready for
I
some
am too.
5v5s. I'm ready for some objective fighting. I'm ready for some dragon, some baron plays. TFF looks like they are they're being more strategic in their fighting, and I get that. But game 3, you gotta leave it all on the line here. Leave it to. There's nothing left here in the series for you, so you might as well keep your position going in favor. Because I mean, TPO can't keep up with that damage at this point in the game. So if you're running full force at them with that Sivir, Braum, Talia, Wombo combo that you have going on, you should be able to just take over the game right now, especially at that 20-minute mark.
Yeah, as we start to move around. I mean, next Drake is coming up in less than a minute, so we'd have to start to move that TPO pot of greed. We brought up the last Senna game, sat 3-3 and 13. Hold on, 17. Not quite the number of threes in a row, but that Senna game definitely a highlight of theirs. On B Morris, I thought some of the what you call it, the animations on Mordekaiser do sometimes get a little bit blended in there when you get a little quick glance. I thought for a second might have been going in for that 1v1. It also just might be coping that we'll get another fight, because that's how the games have been so far, and I like lots of fights, but it just hasn't been the case so far.
Yeah, we're usually at about 10 to 15 kills throughout the whole game at this point. And right now we're at 6. So, I mean, TFF got their early lead, and now they're trying to control that here. They're trying to learn from their past mistakes and make sure they don't throw it at this point in the game, because that's where really they've been shining in the mid game now. So now they've won that early game. Can they keep up their success throughout the next phase of this game?
Also, this time around, I definitely think they can afford to be a little bit more patient with their with how they want to play this out. So from a like tactical perspective, I don't mind this so much, especially from the side of TFF. But from a viewer perspective, guys, come on, do something. Like, come on, please.
I mean, they're all flirting with death right now at this point.
More, but I mean, you say they are, but Ziggy, I mean, Hecarim just moves so fast that, like, it'll be fine there for Ziggy, and we got the Drake coming up now, so with everybody positioning around it, hopefully, maybe we can find a little bit of blood getting spilled here for what could be a potential soul point for TPO. At least they'll be looking for that, but
are you not entertained, Isaac? Are you not entertained by the slow League of Legends gameplay?
Cerebral gameplay? I don't have a brain!
Play the game how it's supposed to be played. How dare they go through their phases here and not just run it down time after time after time here. We do see the dragon spawning in the bot lane pretty soon. Hecarim and Viego are duking it out, though.
They are, but once again, I mean, Hecarim just hops away. I would say that. I was about to say Hecarim can just hop away, but he will get caught out by the seismic shove from Efron. So I mean, again, Efron, these abilities on these mages that you'd say usually they are supplemental to any sort of CC that does get dropped down, but even with the extra movement speed that Ziggy was starting to give himself there on the Hecarim, still gets shoved away, and hold on, Weaver's Wall will try to cut off We Good from any sort of exit. Seismic Shove would have landed if it wasn't for the flash off of We Good. So Efron, once again, even though this game has been a bit slower, a lot of the highlights, a lot of them have been Efron getting things done once again.
Yeah, I mean, patience is a virtue right now for Efron, and they are... one thing we see a lot out of players, and I won't say for every player, but like Efron isn't showing this out, but sometimes when I have a huge carry game, or I see a player have a huge carry game and they go to the next game, they start out feeling like they're that 13-0 Syndra that is hitting every scatter of the week and one-shotting everybody. We're not seeing that from Efron. Efron is very controlled, very skilled in the way they're playing this Talia, and they are very patient in where they're putting their shots there. They watch Hecarim run away like a race car, and then they planted that pillar perfectly. I'm just waiting to see if there's a fight going to go down here.
That's going to be Efron flashing forward. Seismic shove will land its way onto We Good. He's not feeling so good after that one. And that's going to be yet another kill going over to the side of TFF. And another play in which Efron is the benefactor of. On the taunt, will find B-Morse under the tower, taking 3 tower shots there in a bit of an unfortunate situation, but we'll be okay for now. Stable Orca trying to find a fight here. Ziggy going to be shielded up by the Dawning Shadow. Ziggy, can he get out? Blast Cone will find its way, but the stun still lands, and that's going to be having Ziggy ulting away, as well as the Stand United from Indigo getting dropped. Perhaps a little bit of a miscommunication there, or just a bit of a anti-synergy on both wanting to do the same thing at the same time, keep Ziggy alive, but still more proactive play from TFF Aftershock going in their favor.
It's a little rough right there. I would have liked to see them re-engage that one. Because right now, TPO is kind of at standstill and a fork in the road. They can either fight this one out and take whatever they can that looks like a good situation. Like right there, you could have 3 people, 4v3 situation. They got the mid lane turret, but I mean, they're losing their gold lead pretty quickly.
Wall was just dropped, and that's going to be Pot of Greed, and We Good in a tough spot without any way to walk back. Pot of Greed getting too greedy, and We Good, is he going to get away? Going to be able to get that Blast Cone, but still on the wrong side of the map. Efron's here. Oh, wait, hold on. B-Morse is just walking up. It's just over for We Good.
It's a slaughter.
Yeah.
TFF's running away with this game right now. 23 minutes in, 4K gold lead, almost a 5K gold lead, and I don't really see a game plan coming out of TPO. They look a little bit lost here in this game 3 compared to all the other games that they've played so far. Tristana working that macro, taking that top lane turret while the rest of the team is kind of falling apart here. I need some playmakers here at TPO. And really that's the Hecarim and the Shen.
Yeah, and it's been really different than what we've expected from TPO. I mean, one of our biggest criticisms of TFF in general with how they had performed in those first 2 games was that they were a bit too reactive, but now as they're the ones starting these fights, B-Morse getting a little bit too dangerous there. The stun, or the taunt, going to force a little bit of tower aggro there, and now the flash out of B-Morse, so at the very least, one potential advantage going on the side of TPO, but back on that other thing is that one of the main things we really liked from TPO in these first 2 games, at least in the early and mid game, is that they were proactive. But now we get another example of TFF proactivity coming through in a big way. Indigo really doesn't have anywhere to go, does have the flash at least, going to use that there to keep himself alive, as well as on top of that Dawning Shadow, just to ensure that that was some fancy feat out there alive.
That's a fancy feat out of Indigo right there, dodging the Viego, dodging the Mordekaiser.
Oh, Fallen Warrior, you're just going to hop away. But actually on the back side of this, that's going to be Saber Orca going to be knocked back by the bus shot. Thixus keeping himself alive there in what was starting to look like a dangerous spot there for the mid laner of TPO, but we'll be fine for now.
And we're just back at that Fallen Warrior. Gonna have to use the ult to get out of this one. And Efren looking for a way to get back in there and protect his support. With that being said, though, we're back to square one. TFF in the lead still, 5K. 2 dragons on the side of TPO, 1 dragon for TFF. I don't think TFF really cares about the dragons at this point in the game. They just want to take as many members off the map as fast as possible to take these objectives over. TPO needs to find a game plan and stick to it. I think the objective 1 is a good one. That's how they won that game 1, by keeping every resource to their availability on their side of the map. So
that's going to be Fallen Warrior snared up there, taking up a lot of damage right before this fight begins. Saber Orca is here on the other hand, trying to find a stun on the backside of that fight. Not quite going to do that there. So we start to move around this Baron. Fallen Warrior at a bit of a disadvantage in terms of the health bar, but we're starting up numbers and slight positional advantage over to the side of TPO. Stand United is at the very least available. Or actually, I got that wrong. There's Indigo right there in that fight. So that's certainly just going to be this getting given over, especially with the Weaver's Wall not going to allow anyone to move in. That'll be the Drake getting picked up by TFF, preventing that soul point for TPO.
Yeah, I think that was more of a stop them from backing and realizing that Bix was up in that top lane, hitting that tower. Won't be fast enough to grab that tower and get some gold on top of that, though, so we'll even out the dragons on the side of TFF. And really, we're waiting on a big play. Baron was a big play of game 2 that really shut it down for TPO into that loss here. And I think they're in that same kind of situation. If they start this Baron at any point in the game right now, it could be game over for them if they don't take out at least 1 or 2 members before that even happens. They don't really have that damage dealer here. I mean, they have the Tristana and the Hacker in, but I don't think that's going to be enough to really take out that Baron pre 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, with how it is, they don't really have an easy way to sneak onto that like they did before. Flash forward from Efron, though, trying to find Pot of Greed, flashing away in response, keep himself alive for now. Dawning Shadow, going to give themselves a little bit more shields, and perhaps that'll be Efron stepping a little bit too far forward. Efron going, not down just yet. Seismic Shove moved away, now shut down going onto the Tristana, but on the back end of this fight, it won't quite be enough damage onto the backline from Stabler, Orca, and now here comes the rest of TPO. Beamorse trying to find the backside of this fight with a few low health bars, can send someone to the death round should he choose, not going to use that just yet. Actually, hold on, B. Morris maybe wanted to use that because that's a lot of damage coming through, and B. Morris a bit too greedy on that, getting that kill as well. So 4-0, going over the side of TPO in a bit of against the run of play, really. And well, if there's a way that they are going to take the Baron before 30 minutes, well, this is how you do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you smell that, Isaac, because I smell a Baron power play coming out right now. They should be able to get this down. I mean, there's still about 5 seconds left on the rest of the team, 20 seconds left on B. Morris. Stabler Orca is up, though, and could make a steal go and happen in their favor, because this is going to take a little bit longer than I think TPO realizes.
Well, TPO use the teleport on Bixes to try to put this down much faster, down to about half health now. Stabler Orca should be able to at least contest this. They'll have some vision coming through. Reaver's Wall will trap them in, split this fight up a little bit, but with only 3 members here, they will wisely not fight that out, and that'll be Baron going over to the side of TPO.
That's a TFF Baron. That's a steal, my brother.
Did I
miss a steal on Stabler Orca?
Oh my
he got
God.
it. Gone. He smited. He outsmited the Ziggy objective Baron. I mean, Ziggy has been on point all game until this point where it matters the most, and now TFF is making their way to a power play that they needed so badly after that lost team fight, and now they can keep their lead going and just really drown out TPO with minions and macro. That's all they needed out of this one right now, because I don't think they were ready for the amount of damage and healing did come out of TPO in this situation of that last team fight. And now with that Baron on top of that, it's going to be a long road for TPO to get back on track.
I'd like to I know we don't necessarily have the ability to see that again, but I would have loved to see that Baron steal again, because
It looked like a smite diff. It
had
10
to have
health
been.
left.
It had to have been, but I didn't see Stabler Orca really in the Baron pit at all, though, is the thing. Hold on, but while we talk about this, B. Morris will send Indigo to Death Round to try to 1v1 this out before he comes back from Brazil, but it won't be enough damage to take down Indigo. But meanwhile, all over the map, it will be the rest of TFF picking up these few towers, especially in this bottom lane. Efron, Stabler, Orca being able to push this through, should be able to take that inhibitor and without any trouble at all. So it's a bit, so even though they do get the kill, it is a very large return amount of gold going over to the side of TFF. Fallen Warrior moving forward, trying to get this next inhibitor tower. But with Ziggy here, they should be able to move away and not be able to collect that just yet.
TFF looked like they drowned out any doubts they had in their mind right now, as they know they can win this fight. Fallen Warrior scored out.
Its way onto Fallen Warrior, going to hop away onto the minion, trying to keep himself alive for now. No way. Oh my God, Fallen Warrior lives.
He's running. Chrome alone, saving his support right now, as they are still chasing him down. They want to take that Braum out, and they will unfortunately not get them. So TFF got a Baron, got a bot lane inhib, and almost cracked open that mid lane tower, and now they're looking to get the start of the end of the game right now.
Hold on, Stabler Orca perhaps a bit too far out on his own, going to have to use a Heartbreaker to hop away. It does give time for Fallen Warrior to return and make this a fairly even fight in terms of numbers for this Drake. Soul point either way, depending on who claims it. But despite all this jockeying for position, that does leave Efron open here in this mid lane to just push with this Baron, try to take that down. And this will be surely this being claimed over, unless the Stabler Orca won't quite go for that just yet. Indigo will try to find a fight, knowing that they have the numbers advantage for now. Encore will find the right target, getting the one onto Chrome alone, going down now. Pot of Greed going to be the ones to claim that, but that's unfortunate. But teleport's coming through. F1, they're just going to end this one. Does the teleport come through? Indigo is through, and now the second teleport of WeGood coming down. But WeGood is in a bit of trouble in terms of this spot. B Morris in the death realm now, but now no. Surely they don't claim this one. Wait, B Morris. He was fine. Okay, the Nexus is fine. The Nexus is fine, guys. The Nexus is fine.
I think every viewer right now is holding their breath as well. Ziggy's not done with B Morris, though. B Morris is going to find themselves into a gray screen after that TP play. They got the towers, though, and that's all that kind of matters right now. It is choking out TPO as much as possible right now to get this series win. I mean, they need this so bad. They are 1-3, everybody, in the standings at the 3rd seed. A win right now is going to tie them with TPO and keep them in tied for that 2nd seed. And it looks like every game kind of matters here, this week 4 part of Titan Divinity. So, I mean, TPO, they buried themselves with that early Baron play in game 2 and in game 3. And really, it's the story of this whole series right now is Barons need a lot of time and a lot of respawn timers to get those without any consequences. And Saber Okra showed us the biggest consequence of all. That's all 5 members being alive and stealing a Baron. And now look at your map. The blue side is gone. The only tower alive right now for TPO is that top lane tier 3 tower and that inhib as well. And there's a lot of minions to deal with on a team that doesn't really have the best pushing power.
Yeah, they don't exactly have the best time trying to clear those waves. At the very least, there is still a minute before that Baron comes up, but I don't think that'll be enough time for those inhibitors to come back. And I mean, they're going to have to find a way to try to contest this. I mean, at the very least, Ziggy does have a lot of move speed on that Hecarim, but well, I guess you can't rule anything out with how this series is.
There's 2 options.
I'll put it that way.
There's 2 options here, right? You either sit in your base and wait for TFF to come get you, or you go out there and you search out for TFF and try and get them. But as you're doing that, I mean, Efron has an ulti and a TP to just end the game. You're really stuck in a catch-22, a 50-50 at no matter what point in the game right now. You need every ward, every pink ward on the map right now to not get caught out. I mean, 1 death is game over right now for TPO.
And this death might be coming through. Indigo taking down to half health in a very big place of trouble. The Encore will be stopped by the Braum. And now this is all going over to the side of TFF to start this fight. B-Morris getting a kill onto the enemy support, and there's just not really anything you can do anymore on the side of TPO walking wards. There's only 2 members left, Ziggy and Bixus available. Aftershock going to be dropped. No more inhibitors available on the side of TPO. Only their Nexus now. Bixus going down, and that will be game 3. Going over to the side of TFF Aftershock. And, well, it's kind of what we had expected at that point with the 2 inhibitors down, but still, TFF managing to close that out fairly comfortably. And, well, player of the series, Efron, surely, right?
Yeah, I mean, played well game 2. Game 1, they did play well in that way. Just wasn't the right champion for their play style to really help out their team. With that being said, before we get into that, I gave a little bit of a strict talk to for TFF. Now I got to talk to TPO, and you're looking for death. There's nothing else out there in that gray screen right now. When both inhibs are down, your Nexus is wide open. There's nothing there protecting it, and you're looking for somebody to either pick off or get a fight out there in that top lane. But the only thing you're looking for is a way to lose. So let this be a sign for any team going forward here, no matter what the team is. And TPO played amazing today. They just had a little bit of bad decision making. Whoever the shot caller is going to need to kind of readdress this, go back and watch these games and know where the game went wrong here in this situation. In game 2 was the Baron, in game 3 it was the Baron, in game 1 you won because of that Baron, but you can't play the same kind of play style every single time. So I mean, that very end right there, you can't be doing that. I mean, you might as well just sit in your base and wait for them to come to you, or walk 5 in a team to somewhere else or anything like that. But with that being said, yeah, Efron MVP, TFF definitely proved all the doubters wrong, all the haters wrong, and showed that they can be a team to carry themselves into victory and be a contender in this series of Divinity. And now they are tied for that second seed with TPO. So maybe they'll get that rematch, and maybe TPO will get revenge. But right now, TFF is a better team.
Yeah, they can also win on red side.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
they
yeah.
can win on. They finally. I mean, they did get the one win over Sun Lero on red side, but this is their other than what is a team that has only one win under their belt, and when I mean one win, I mean one game win under their belts, which. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like that would it's the kind of thing that gets thrown in there, and yeah, I don't know where we're necessarily going with that. I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but I always find like just playing on red side more uncomfortable. I don't know. There's just something about the perspective of playing from red side. This could be just all 5 members of TFF Aftershock in this sort of situation, but I kind of this just might be spitballing in my own, getting into my own head and projecting. But yeah, Reds. I don't know.
No, you got a good point right there. It's always helpful to have that first ban and have that game plan going on. With that being said, Isaac, I appreciate you so much for filling in for Wisdom today. I hope to cast with you again. Shout out to TFF. They brought it back, and reverse sweeping is insane, especially with a team fight capabilities of TPO in every stage of the game as well. I mean, every single draft they had was oriented towards fighting 5v5 as a team. So for TFF to pull that one off was amazing. They got their win. They're sitting very, very confidently that they can fight whatever team is out there right now, and maybe they can continue this success all the way into the playoffs here. With that being said, that was Divinity League Week 4, and everybody, you have a great night, and shout out Draft Pro Comps.